What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 6 OK Chapter 126 Hello, old woman. With a sigh, Jiraiya broke the two butterfly popsicles on his hand and handed them to Bajin. Although it is not hot in autumn, it is also extremely enjoyable to have a cool cold drink. What is in his mind? Jiraiya believes that Bajin next to him is very clear. But there are some things he doesn't know how to speak. When a person's previous beliefs are broken, he will fall into confusion. Bajin always lets him see with his eyes, but he can't stop thinking about it in his heart. As a mentor leading the Son of Prophecy, he is very afraid that the Son of Prophecy will go astray because of his mistakes. And this kind of thought made him even more regretful when the news of the changes made by Shao organization reached his ears. Some can't help but wonder, is my teacher a bit unqualified? Always teach others to understand, to believe, and to entrust their mission. But he never changed anything. Looking back on my first half of my life, it was all failures. Well, let me ask you a question. After being silent for a while, Bajin spoke. If others kept talking about peace around him like this, Bajin might give him a slap and let him go to the wall of merit to reflect. But Jiraiya is not good. He was not the best talent since childhood, and he didn't have any special blood. He can rely on his efforts to reach today and become one of the legendary Sanins. He is also a person who admires the 8163 swords very much. Hero Jiraiya should not die in the country of rain. You always say that people understand each other, and then true peace will follow. Then I ask you, why should I entrust this belief to my disciples instead of using my limited life to do something truly meaningful for peace? Bajin's eyes were serious. Have you ever thought about becoming the one who changes the world, instead of putting hope on the elusive prophetic son? Don't say that you have insufficient abilities. The power you have is not small. Shoulder the responsibility to change the world? Own? The confusion in Jiraiya's eyes grew stronger. The elder Toad Sage said that his mission is to guide the Son of Prophecy, not to change the world. Another person who was brainwashed by toad pills. Bajin flipped through Byakugan. What does the toad say? Thousands of years ago, Toad Maru could fool Ōtsutsuki Hamura and Ōtsutsuki Hagoromo to seal his mother. Thousands of years later, he can let Jiraiya find the Son of Prophecy and change the world. Bajin has a lot of doubts about toad pills, but he doesn't bother to get to the bottom of it. Although the so-called, as for how to change the ninja world, the idea in my heart told you that it is absolute unity. The three holy places have been passed down for thousands of years, but what does this have to do with him, AEDF? Bajin sighed and said his ambitions again. I watched anime for countless times, and even bloggers endured the intense discomfort to find the passion of Naruto and Urzuzi. But after all, the taste has changed. Naruto got his wish when he became Hokage and fulfilled his vow to protect his companions. In the face of the invasion of Ōtsutsuki during the new Chunin exam, he used his life to protect Konoha, but he only knows whether he is happy or not. On those busy days, I spend more time with the desk than Hinata. The burden of the two children also changed from D to A, and Hinata completely sucked it up. The five great nations are harmonious on the surface, and every shadow has become a friend of Naruto, and fell in Zeon's mouth to escape. But even in such a world, undercurrents are still surging and there are problems from time to time. Not to mention that after Naruto's death, will the five major nations enter into war in an instant like Senju Hashirama's death? This problem is probably inevitable. The inheritance of will is true, and the instability of this world is also true. Then when Indra and Ashura's chakra are reincarnated again, a new dispute will begin. Therefore, why not correct the essentially wrong world, achieve true unity, and then formulate reasonable plans and measures? Although such a world cannot be stable for a long time, at least a few hundred years of prosperity and development can be achieved. As long as the highest combat power for peace is not dead, then stability will continue. This is Bajin's vision. The first step, changing Konoha, is over. The next step is to eat the resources provided by Kirigakure, slowly assimilate Kirigakure, and merge the entire territory of the water country into Konoha. This requires a process, but it will not take long. On the premise of stabilizing this process, let other ninja villages in the ninja world be afraid of Konoha. Let them understand Konoha's toughness and dare not attack Konoha from now on. This must be done. They can't be beaten and don't fight back. People unite to invade Konoha, and even attack and endure. It's not fair to Konoha, and it's just as unfair to the villagers who died in the war to defend their homes and the ninjas. Therefore, a counterattack is inevitable. In particular, Iwagakure's attitude of not feeling that he has done something wrong with his peace of mind has greatly increased Bajin's murderous intentions. At least learn from other people's Cloud Shinobi village, but did not participate, and even sent the letter to Konoha. But the country of the earth and the country of the wind just kept silent, as if it had never happened before. Why? In short, I have said everything I can say. I am not really interested in changing the world or anything, but I am still willing to try to make Konoha-kun in the world. Standing up, swallowing the popsicle whole, Bajin threw the popsicle stick to Kurama comfortably. Will you fight back after being beaten? Sorry, that's not Konoha's current style. I want to explain it to the dead. If you can't make a change, just follow me and see. I promise to see peace come before you die. What this said, Jiraiya turned Byakugan straight and stood up after Bajian. But just when he wanted to ask the details, the boy next to him suddenly disappeared, and two familiar figures appeared in the distance, raising his head. Wouldn't it be so coincidental? The corner of Jiraiya's mouth twitched. There is indeed a large-scale casino in this town, so he brought Bajian to try his luck. It seems that there are no more points left and ready to leave. Luck is really bad. At the exit of the town, the gray-headed blonde girl is walking out with meditation, and her mouth is. What was said in sway 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 nyen, but the girl next to her sighed helplessly. When was the last time you won? Shouldn't it be the norm to lose? At this moment, a voice suddenly came from behind. Shizune, who was holding the pig, ran away as soon as he heard the content. Hey, old woman. Boom. The horrible aura opened in an instant, and Tsunade was in a bad mood and punched it directly. She wanted to see which one who didn't open her eyes opened her mouth just to say an old woman. Originally, I was in a bad mood today, and this old woman completely ignited her anger. Does my mother look very old? But when she saw someone who was only as tall as her car lights, she suddenly panicked. It's a kid. The little devil called himself the old woman. It seems that there is nothing wrong with it. When it's over, I'm afraid he will be seriously injured if the punch is retracted. Even if you lose money, you still have to give people free treatment. What is this? Then when her head was completely smashed down, a shocking scene appeared. When she raised her head a few centimeters away from the other party, the hand that didn't seem strong was holding it. The strange knife was placed horizontally in front of you. Suddenly, the air wave broke out. The ground behind the boy began to crack. But the boy himself remained motionless, and he didn't even receive any influence. Only a certain fox lying on Bajian's shoulder flew out at a speed of 300 miles per hour. Listen carefully. The fox seemed to be yelling while flying. My uncle will be back. Old woman. Wait for my uncle. Mom eats popsicle sticks. It's the uncle who was injured when the kid was beaten. What's the reason? Third more. Codewording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 127. He is Konoha Kenpachi, the one who captured Raikage alive. This kid is not easy. When I withdrew some strength and raised my head to hit the knife, the counter-shock force from it even felt a little numb to her. But the other party did not respond, not even a step back. This is how Princess Katsuyu, one of Konoha Sanin, said hello. Bajian frowned and looked at Tsunade. If the person who yelled out the three words, old woman, was an ordinary person, he would be seriously injured if he didn't die. Even if the temper is irritable, it shouldn't be so messy. Had it not been for him to gather Reiatsu on Zanpakuto, and the physical improvement brought about by the long-term swing of the knife to complete daily tasks, I am afraid he would have to take a few steps back. Terrifying power. It comes from the blood of the body, as well as sophisticated chakra control. Strange power punch. Interesting. Withdrawing the knife, Bajian exhaled. Who are you? Tsunade was also puzzled, that only a kid could catch his fist. Even if she deliberately took a little bit of energy when she saw the other party's age, she couldn't be so safe and beautiful. Huh. This costume. On the contrary, Shizune behind Tsunade was stunned, and suddenly remembered what he was about to report, but Jiraiya in the distance walked over and interrupted his thoughts. Jiraiya. Why are you here? Tsunade was also dumbfounded. Unexpectedly, I could suddenly meet my deceased in such a small place. Get away, go far. At this moment, Bajian whispered and turned around instantly. There, a fierce and evil chakra rose to the sky. When a huge amount of chakra slowly formed, the roaring nine tails rushed from a distance. Fed up. Why do you treat this uncle like this? Kurama was completely angry after being beaten out. That little devil hits himself, so what is so good about you, an old woman? In the past, you couldn't do anything to you in your grandmother's stomach. Now that the uncle came out, he still has to be bullied by you? Roar. The fierce roar scared the residents of the town to run around, and Tsunade at the exit was completely stunned. That's Nine Tails. Why does Nine Tails appear here? What did the village send? Could it be that something happened to Kushina? No way. The one I just shot out was Nine Tails? A terrifying thought rose from Tsunade's heart. It's Rikio, don't be stunned. Tsunade, if it runs rampant here, I'm afraid this town will be gone. Jiraiya has a solemn expression, with his hands folded and ready to enter sage mode. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Tsunade also wakes up, the 100 healings mark on his forehead is emitting a little light, ready to take action at any time to suppress Nine Tails. From the chakra of destruction, they can feel a strong sense of oppression. This is the strongest tail beast sealed in Uzumaki Mido. And now it is not divided into two, no one knows how strong the strongest tail beast is. What makes Jiraiya and Tsunade nervous the most is that from this distance, it can be seen that the horrible tailed beast bomb is brewing in front of its mouth. I said, let you go further, didn't you hear it? Boom Reiatsu broke out. Bajian looked back at Tsunade indifferently. Boy, are you going to die? Tsunade was furious, so my elder mother had to bother to protect you. Let me go further. Jiraiya was in a dilemma. He looked at the approaching Nine Tails and Bajin in front of him, gritted his teeth and withdrew to the side. The distance is close. Nine Tails, with all the power to destroy it, rushed towards the exit of the town in a daze. Old woman. How arrogant you are. The angry Nine Tails has faintly lost his mind. Originally it was not so angry, but when it flew out, it suddenly thought of a lot of things. The first Hokage who can use wood style too much. Seping was caught in the meeting. It faced the wooden golem, which was bigger than the whole body, and was pinched with one hand. The most excessive is coming. Nine Tails, you are too strong. So I want to seal you, my uncle, thank you so much. It can't beat first generation. If you bully your granddaughter and let your granddaughter go to see you in advance, this uncle is still very willing to do this kind of thing. The beast is the beast. Even Nine Tails, who was influenced by Naruto in the later period, still has a grumpy temper. What's more, now that I have just experienced human life around Bajin, the animal nature still exists in him. Tame the tail? Want to get the real letter from the tail beast? How could it be that easy? Bajin knows this very well, so he took Nine Tails on the road with him. The reason is to show a little attitude when it can't stand it and want to explode. The attitude of the same beast. Otherwise, if you run away in Konoha, Naruto is still young and does not have the essence of Master's mouth escape. I am afraid that the disgusting thing in the original book is that the ghoul is sealed and will be fattened. The huge figure is getting closer. Tsunade behind Bajin's already strained forehead oozes a trace of sweat. Jiraiya stood by with a worried expression on her face, her hands clasped together still did not stop. And at the moment when the disaster was about to come, Bajin picked up Zanpakuto and thrust into the ground fiercely, spreading both. The pupils shrank instantly, and the needle-pointed eyes stared directly at Kurama's eyes. Calm down. Kurama. Boom. Ryotsu broke out. The breathtaking power caused Tsunade behind him to step back a few steps. A completely different power from chakra filled her mind with negative emotions. This kid. Tsunade stared at the back in shock. Who is he? Why have such a powerful force? Calm down, Kurama. Someone is calling this uncle. Kurama was vaguely out of control in his anger. Only one person remained in his eyes. Tsunade slowly lowered his head. He stands in front, that little devil, with his open hands. Is he thinking that the uncle really doesn't dare to do anything to you? Human beings are hypocritical. He will definitely attack this uncle. There was a roar. Lee Lama's body doesn't seem to stop. 10 meters. 5 meters, 3 meters. Damn, my uncle is scared of you. But in the end, when its body collided with it, the tailed beast bomb in front of it suddenly reversed its direction and rushed towards the sky. In the end, it stopped. Boom. A deafening explosion was completely transmitted over the town. The earth was trembling. Tailed beast bomb is powerful, refreshing everyone's understanding of tailed beasts. But after all, this innocent town was spared from disaster. When everything is calm, Kurama snorted and gradually narrowed, then slowly jumped onto Bajin's shoulder and closed his eyes. Gone. This kid. This uncle is not afraid of you being hurt, but can't beat you. That is it. Well, forget it, give that kid a face, just take it for those bottles of drinks. Is this the end? Behind Tsunade, his eyes were full of cold sweat and his eyelids jumped non-stop. Jiraiya in the distance finally breathed a sigh of relief. Boy, who are you? After a full minute of silence, Tsunade asked her own question. Master Tsunade, Konoha is known to use knives, and only that one is so strong. Shizune tremblingly swallowed. It's Konoha Kenpachi. Capture Raikage's Konoha hero alive, 4th more. Codewording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 128 Kurama. This uncle not only scolds you, but also scolds your ancestors. Trust is not achieved overnight. Bajin has an agreement with Nine Tails, including letting it help make Naruto and Minato a true golden legend. This requires the accumulation of time. When it really recognizes a person, there is no need to talk too much nonsense. The storm has passed. Night falls. The town resumed its lively scene. The tailed beast bomb during the day did not hurt anyone. Apart from the strong tremor, it did not affect the lives of the residents of the town. In the barbecue restaurant next to the casino, the figure of a few dodgers attracted the attention of many residents. But after all, it was just 2 more glances, especially when the knife placed next to the young man was shining with a sharp edge from time to time, which caught the eye. Eat, let me feed you. A tender piece of meat exudes a fragrance, and it is obviously well cooked. Throw the piece of meat in front of Kurama with a fork, Bajin said. Kurama snorted and didn't say anything, just stretched out his small paw and pointed at the wine gourd beside the 8.35 sword. The meaning is obvious. It is always boring to eat barbecue without a drink. Helpless, Bajin threw his wine gourd in front of it. This guy is still angry. Just because I stopped it, I didn't let it hit Tsunade. In the words of the former servant, it just wanted to beat Tsunade to vent its anger. Who thought Tsunade would seal it with her grandfather? It can't beat the old, it feels necessary to bully the younger. And the old woman really shot it out, otherwise it won't make such a big fire. In essence, it's like a simple child, there is a little Tsunade. Shaking his head, Bajian looked at Tsunade and Shizune, who were dumbfounded. Essentially, these two are nurses. The medical ninja is still a very good medical ninja. Among them, Tsunade is the best, and Shizune is just like that. This kind of precious medical ninja is indispensable to Konoha, so he has just said, "Look at what I am doing, I am an old woman, what's so good about it?" Own purpose. With a cold face, Tsunade snorted at Bajian. It's good to know, old women are old women, you have to pretend to be tender. Bajian hasn't spoken yet, Kurama next to him starts to become strangely angry. Who are you scolding for as an old woman? My old lady fights with you. You can't chew it up, can you? Tsunade was completely angry. From the time they came to the rotisserie, the shittail kept mumbling about old women and other nasty things. At first, she was extremely annoyed at this kind of exposing age, but after all, she had provoked Nine Tails before and always took it seriously. But now these words are going through her ears desperately. If I don't correct them, I'm afraid this nickname will be with her for a lifetime. Where is my old lady getting old? Tsunade thought angrily. Speaking of you, what? To my uncle to say that Uzumaki Mito is much better than you. This trick 100 healings mark was originally passed by the Uzumaki clan and was perfected by the woman, and then in your hands, Uzumaki Mito is very self-knowing and only seals chakra. What about you? You have shamelessly changed your face since you learned this trick. So I don't want to grow old, so I can just meet people like when wearing open pants, so I save going to the toilet. Speaking of it, it's endless. Bajian, who first discovered Nine Tails' mouth-breaking properties, had a headache. Well, the strongest tail beast, you are wrong, do you have to be a slapstick? Eat meat. Directly put a piece of hot barbecue into Lee Lama's mouth. Bajian pressed Nine Tails' head tightly and let it go in and look at Tsunade. Well, give me a face, my dog has a bad mouth lately. But let me remind you, you'd better apologize to it, otherwise you can't get rid of the old woman. Also, you'd better not do anything with it. It has seen you upset for a long time. Oh no, not just you, it doesn't look good at the Senju family, whether it's the clan or the relatives. Boom. Tsunade slapped the table and his face was blue, and the chakra on his body was already exuding. Why? It's been a long time since I saw my old lady upset. Did the old lady find it to mess with it? Do you want to point your face? Let me apologize to your dog. Obviously, you yelled that old woman first, or else Nine Tails, a monster like Nine Tails, can remember how fast you can chew and talk endlessly. Only, your respectable grandfather, first Hokage Senju Hashirama was sealed because they were strong. The most shameless thing is that your ancestors sold their tail beasts as war materials. Calm Bajian directly opens his mouth to bury Tai first generation. Damn, absolutely. This is so exciting. Moved in a mess, Kurama spit out the barbecue in his mouth and put it in Bajian's bowl. In the eyes of the beast, this kind of sharing is extremely generous. It's a pity that Bajian resentfully put the barbecue cold into his mouth again. Who is disgusting? Boy, who did you scold just now? But opposite Bajian, the angry person became even more angry. Even the 100 healings mark on the forehead has a sign of opening. This is really hot. The Jiraiya next to him was so scared that he didn't dare to breathe. In the past, he just wanted to peep, and before he could even get close, he broke his ribs directly. This kid is actually joking with first generation. It doesn't seem to be a joke, it seems that he has quite a big opinion on first generation. With a wry smile, Jiraiya didn't know how to resolve the conflict between the two. Originally, an old woman is already very heady, what should we do now? Presumptuous. But the thing that made Jiraiya completely stunned was sent out. When Saping saw his old buddy being yelled at, Kurama was still unwilling. The little paw slapped the table and jumped directly onto the stove. The red chakra bag on it wrapped the fat and swollen body. My uncle has made it clear to you, what he scolded as first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Senju Hashirama is just rubbish. If it wasn't for this uncle being controlled by Uchiha Madara, let this uncle come by himself, you can see if he can beat this uncle. Also, my uncle is here, not only this kid scolded, but my uncle also scolded. Do you dare to move him a try? It is not good enough. Bajian is speechless. If you want to use the topic to scold first generation, just scold it directly. He did have some opinions on Senju Hashirama, who was clearly a strong man, but bowed his head to pray for peace, but he did not curse. Bai Jing teamed up with Uchiha Madara to create Ninja Village, the man is still worthy of respect. Of course, he didn't figure out that first generation played Uchiha Madara so hard. The other 4 countries that are eager to move and obviously have ambitions for Konoha can do so. I really don't understand, the old lady has provoked you. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. She wants to vent her anger. Tsunade was already mad, she looked at Nine Tails angrily, faintly losing her mind. Codewording the Tail smiled disdainfully at 5.4. This old woman is a little bit scared of wood style. Why can't you and my uncle be bothered? You really can't beat this uncle, I'm so embarrassed today. Squinting his eyes, Bajian suddenly thought of how to pull this strong old woman back to Konoha and smiled. Then he arrogantly faced Tsunade in front of Nine Tails and said the opponent's trump card. Be careful, Kurama, this old woman who knows Baihao technique is under attack. Boy, are you a ninja from Konoha or a betrayal? Fifth more. First generation self-healing passive, don't you know? Go out to practice? Tsunade's face couldn't be saved at all, and he rolled up his sleeves to prepare for a fight. At this moment, Tsunade is completely crazy. Well, what is ninja art? Meiotic regeneration Baihao technique is messy, healed himself. Do you really think I can't beat you? Chapter 129 Who said the Senju clan is dead? Shout out in a loud voice. Tsunade seemed to calm down a lot. She is indeed angry. I am also one of Sanin anyhow, and Jiraiya is the same generation in terms of seniority. And the kid in front of me is Minato's disciple, so how can she be his predecessor? Where did I know that my Baihao technique Tsunade can't control it? But how can you turn your elbow out? Follow me back to Konoha, and I will beat it for you. Bajian shook his head. It wasn't that Tsunade's whole cards were arbitrarily revealed. He just wanted her to dispel the idea of fighting with leeway. If you really get angry, this town might not be able to keep it. Tsunade doesn't say death, the injury is certain. Ninja art. The side effects of meiotic regeneration are also great. So I stopped this fight for Tsunade's sake. Now Bajian just wants to have a good talk with Tsunade about returning to the village. Get her back, and you have to go to the land of the country for the next step, and you can't let Shisui and the others wait too long. Why go back with you? With a cold snort, Tsunade returned to his seat. Angrily affirmative, the kid said that he was an old woman, and even got involved with her grandfather Senju Hashirama. That is the belief of the Senju family. Forget it, then change the way of chatting. Bajian shook his head and took a sip of the wine gourd, and you, give me some meat quietly, or my head will be chopped for you. This is angry. 04 The llama pouted his mouth and grabbed the barbecue and ate it. What do you want to talk to me? I just said Konoha that I won't go back. When Konoha was mentioned, there was a flash of pain in Tsunade's eyes. That is a sad place. If there were no accidents, she wouldn't plan to go back in her life. Although she owed a gambling debt outside, she had gotten used to the feeling of buying drunk every day. What can Konoha have to go back? Talk about the demise of the Senju clan. Bajian calmly said the words that are the easiest to set off waves. Who said that the Senju clan was destroyed? Tsunade slapped the table and said impatiently. As far as I know, many members of the Senju clan work in Konoha. Do you call those people the Senju clan? Do you dare to ask them what other Senju clan characteristics are? Bajian smiled, full of sarcasm and disdain. What the hell do you mean? Tsunade looked solemn. She always felt that this kid seemed to know something. Let me stroke it from the beginning, Bajian said calmly. Senju Hashirama once allowed the Senju clan to integrate into Konoha through intermarriage. In order to protect his clan, he even asked the clan to cancel the Senju surname. However, the blood inherited from Sengoku is not so easy to forget the glory of one's clan, and the blood of the Senju clan will not be without inheritors. Therefore, there is still a large number of clan hidden surnames that continue to spread. Those who merge into Konoha are just distant relatives, and there is not much Senju's blood in him. But after the death of first generation and second generation, the Second Ninja World War broke out on a certain day. That pure blood clan was also forcibly transferred to the battlefield, even including Nawaki, who had just graduated from ninja school. Fighting. Something seems to be wrong. The number of people who have hand bloodlines is not small, the number of deaths is becoming more and more exaggerated. First generation and second generation protect tribesmen very cleverly, but some people directly attack this inherited blood. 1,076,207 After a slight pause, Bajian lifted his shoulders. The one who did it was Danzo, and Sarutobi was sitting on the sidelines. In the end, the disciple of the third generation, Tsunade Haim, one of Sanin's remains. Frustrated, you left Konoha. After speaking in one breath, Bajian grabbed the wine gourd again. So, the above is just a guess at the bottom. Specifically from the Sengoku period, the Senju clan can fight against the Uchiha clan. Where did they go? Can you give me the next answer? Why did the Senju clan disappear? Where did the people who merged into Konoha go? Before the death of second generation, Senju clearly owned his own family land and many people. Even if the protection of the tribe chooses to hide, it is impossible to have only one Tsunade. Therefore, these conjectures appeared. Although Bajian felt that there might be some deviations in the details, the overall direction was directed at the Konoha high level. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this, and Nawaki's death is also extremely strange. He accidentally entered the detonation talisman and was killed, and his internal organs were even hollowed out. Is this method necessary? What is the value of a child's internal organs? Combined with the fact that Nawaki's teacher is Orochimaru, Bajian seems to understand something. Silent rotisserie, Tsunade fell silent with a wineglass in his hand. Did not respond to whether what Bajian said was correct, and did not explain anything. Just sat there blankly. Bajian is not in a hurry, he gives Tsunade time to think. What Bai Jing mentioned today is all the sad things of others. Drinking while eating barbecue, it's okay to clink a glass with Kurama. Time, 1 minute and 1 second passed. Shizune and Jiraiya sat there and remained silent. I looked at the darkness outside in the middle of the night, and I wanted to remind you that it was closed, but I didn't dare to come to remind you. Butcher shop owner, Baji sighed, however, Tsunade-senpai suddenly stood up and raised his glass to Tsunade. Baji looked serious. I don't agree with your grandfather's approach. I think the inheritance of the Senju clan is necessary, and Konoha of the two Hokages needs this. The flag passed on. I admit to disagreeing with first generation's approach, but he is still Konoha's well-deserved pioneer. Those who are heroes, like Uchiha Madara, his name will continue to be passed down to the world. This kid, Tsunade raised his head and looked at him blankly. However, it's exactly as you just said. Who said the Senju clan was dead? With a hint of hockey on him, Bajian nodded confidently at Tsunade. You still exist in the Senju clan. You can still live with Senju Hashirama's granddaughter. To pass on, now, third generation is completely retired. Minato teacher inspired to change Konoha. Danzo is dead. His blood was spilled on the pillar of shame in Konoha's central square. I have already reported the grudge against you. Under this circumstance, are you still willing to go back? Konoha needs you, as well as the banner of the Senju clan. After raising the wine gourd and sulking hard, he poured the erguodo from the wine gourd into Tsunade's wine glass. Bajian took a deep breath and looked at 810 each other. He tried his best to tell the truth. He is not good at mouthing. Speaking of this level is already the limit. If the other party disagrees, they can only be tied up with sack. Come take away. Glancing at Kurama, who is biting the sack under the table, Bajian gives a look. That meaning is very obvious. Just keep your mouth still. Just grab it away. Konoha needs me. The Senju family handed down from Sengoku needs me to pass on. Huh? Have you ever seen a real old cow eat tender grass? Moreover, it seems that there is no need to face the old man's face. Shock boom. This is a problem. Why does someone say that the author wrote it on his behalf? Boy, the true clan of the Senju clan, only myself is left. Her face changed from calm to agitated, and then a little ruddy appeared, and the old woman in front of him suddenly laughed. But this attitude seems to agree. With a sigh of relief, Bajian suddenly thought of something. It's so easy. I turned around and grabbed Orochimaru. Little devil, it doesn't matter if you subdue others, I really don't have that hobby. And then let him use your grandfather's cells to conquer something with the blood of first generation. You should deal with it first. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. I think you have a good bloodline, and Nine Tails can't beat you. What inheritance? With her head pressed in front of Bajian, a trace of danger appeared in the old woman's eyes. Sixth more. Hit Bajian's head with a fist, but the soft effect is more like a caress. It was too wrong, and the author is not stupid. In the past 200,000 characters, it is really a curse that I wrote it on behalf of others. Chapter 130 let you see the speed of the old woman. Click. Inside the barbecue restaurant, the sound of clashing wineglasses seemed very harmonious. After Tsunade agreed to return to the village, Bajian hugged Kurama and let it meet the opponent. The two can't tell who owes whom the matter of the ancestors. We will talk about it later. Kurama has already thought about it carefully. It seems that bullying people's descendants is really not a skill. Clink a glass and drink it all. This matter is considered to be over. From now on, it will be Konoha's people, so it's easy to talk about it or be a friend. Noodles, it was given to Yi Bajian. From now on, how Kurama and Tsunade get along depends on their sincerity and fate. After eating and drinking, the owner of the rotisserie finally breathed a sigh of relief and announced that it was closed. Walking in the street a small town at night is not beautiful. But the unique charm of the country is very pleasing to the eye. Master Tsunade, are you really going to return to Konoha? On the way to the inn, Shizune, who was behind the team, asked in a low voice. Well, it's been a while since I came out. Go back and have a look. Tsunade stretched out, and the perfect car light that came with it covered the faint street light next to it, which was truly charming. I thought you really wanted to use him to revitalize the Senju clan. Shizune murmured cautiously, and a very expectant smile flashed across his face. Sometimes mensao is a person's physique. It seems that Shizune has this quality. She heard the last sentence that the old cow eats tender grass clearly. Some kind of magical picture, unspeakable picture, even her in the picture. Quite bloody and violent. Believe it if you were joking? Does that little kid really think he has the ability? Tsunade flipped through Byakugan, too lazy to explain. Going back to Konoha, it was to confirm what the kid said. Has the village changed? Even Danzo is dead, and what are the so-called wall of merits and pillars of shame? Tsunade didn't know, so, she just wanted to see with her own eyes whether the changes in the village were as the little devil said, and then she was deciding whether to stay in Konoha. In a few words, she couldn't believe it all. It will not easily change the mind. The only trend she goes back is that she is Konoha's ninja. Now Konoha needs her, a banner of the Senju clan. She will not shirk this kind of responsibility. That's it. Seeing Yi Bajian's strength is good, you want to gnaw tender grass. She is not the kind of nympho who knows nothing. It is the Senju clan, the last inheritor of pure blood. One of Konoha's Sanin, Tsunade Haim. Little ghost. You just said that the soldiers are divided. Don't you and Jiraiya return to Konoha? After speeding up a few steps and walking to Bajian's side, Tsunade suddenly asked. Well, we still have a mission. Bajian didn't reply, but he responded. What task? Didn't he make a special trip to find himself when he came out? Tsunade was a little confused. Cut people. Okay. You should just leave, or you can decide for yourself. 91 and I are going to take a break for a while. Bajian shook Zanpakuto calmly. Since you decided to go back, you are in a small town. What's this name? The corners of Tsunade's mouth twitched, and how funny it is to say something like hacking from your mouth. Are you sure you are hacking people, not being hacked? My code name is so ugly, I have to think of a resounding change when I look back. Otherwise, when my name is engraved on the wall of merit in the future, a codename of 91 Zishianyu will be misunderstood. Jiraiya flips through. Byakugan pulls Tsunade aside. Don't underestimate him. The expression gradually changed, but a flash of pride flashed in his eyes. Jiraiya took a deep breath and looked at Tsunade. You know, how long did it take him to make Kurigakure one of the 5 great shinobu villages become Konoha's affiliated villages? He stretched out a finger and gestured. 2 words were spoken in Tsunade's shocked eyes. One night. Are you kidding me? Tsunade opened his mouth wide and couldn't believe what Jiraiya said. That's Kurigakure. One of the 5 ninja villages as famous as Konoha, has become an affiliate. And it only took one night. How can this be? Don't doubt, I don't have to talk to you, in fact I'm watching it all the time. The current Kurigakure is Konoha's subsidiary. Until now, Jiraiya recalled that scene with a bit of meaning, and always felt extremely unreal. But that is the fact before us. After 5th Mizukage took over, everything has proceeded smoothly. Due to the pressure Yi Bajian gave Terumi Mei, she would not have any thoughts of resistance. As for why Terumi Mei cooperates obediently, Jiraiya doesn't know this. After Bajian's answer, Kurigakure will understand what the price of resistance is if he waits for the mission of the land to be completed. He is going to kill people. How much do you want to chop? To what extent? These are unknown. In order to prevent accidents, Jiraiya will definitely follow up. Can I go? With intense curiosity in his eyes, Tsunade said his thoughts. What's the point of going back to the village? If you are really arrested and become the shit medical minister, I'm afraid I won't have time to drink in the future. Let's talk if you have enough fun. Can. Looking up and down, Bajian finally nodded. It's not because of Tsunade's strength, but by combining the identity of the other party and the figure in Bajian's mind. He needs Tsunade to do one thing. That dumb body. It is still young, and if the cause can be detected, it should be treated in time. And Tsunade is the one with the highest medical skills in this ninja world. Don't forget, even if Xiao Li broke his hand and foot injury by Gaara's sand, he can be rescued, and he will recover as before. However, even if the cause of the disease cannot be detected, Bajian will look for a solution from the props in the system store. In front of him, the so-called terminal illness, good money, is not a problem at all. The only certainty is that the terminal illness of Itachi was not caused by Sharingan. The side effect of Wanwahian is blindness. Tsunade may go to check Itachi's body. In addition to Itachi, this time Bajian will stay in the country for a while, and the elites of Anbu will also fight cruelly. With a medical ninja, the death rate will be much reduced. This is a good thing, so Bajian will naturally not refuse. If you want to be together, you won't have so much time to play with you on the road. Grasping Zanpakuto holding Nine-Tails' ears, Bajian said seriously. This is mission execution, not pleasure. Don't keep up. I was underestimated. Tsunade sneered. Boy, you haven't been out when my old lady is on the mission. Go, get on the road. My old lady wants you to see the speed group of the old woman. The first is more. Code wording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 131 The Corpse Thrown at the Door of Iwagakure. According to the intercepted Iwagakure intelligence, tonight they will send an intelligence team through this road to the Land of Thunder. The strength of the team members is unknown, but compare the strength of the previous intelligence team to make an analysis. The Vice Admiral team exists in Jonin. Their purpose is to find out whether Raikage and Killer Bee in Cloud Shinobi Village have recovered their combat effectiveness. The Land of the Earth. The names of countries in Naruto world are closely related to geographical features. And the Land of the Earth, as a country where mountains and plains intersect, the soil provides them with extremely rich food resources. The Iwagakure inside, as the military force of the country of soil, is surrounded by a large rocky mountain and has a strong defense. But standing on a mountain outside Iwagakure, Bajian felt that this kind of defense seemed extremely autistic. There are some difficulties in communicating with the outside world in the village. And there are only a few roads leading to the outside world. Listening to the analysis from Kakashi next to him, Bajian stroked his chin. It seems like Hira Onoki never thought that such a strong defense would eventually become Iwagakure's cage. As Jiraiya said, the regimes of Tsujuguo and Iwagakure are inconsistent. Bajian never thought of seizing power and controlling the top. Onoki's dust escape is not so easy to deal with. He who possesses the will of stone would never agree to become Konoha's affiliate. So 027, killing is inevitable. Ow, what shall we do? Kakashi asked with a serious look. Yi Xiao, it's time to show it in front of everyone in the ninja world. With Zanpakuto, Bajian is murderous. Let the rest of the Anbu team continue to stare at the other exits, who came out of Iwagakure from today. Remember, it's anyone. Don't keep alive. The bloody words made Kakashi's heart beat violently. Don't keep alive. With 200 Anbu ninjas, does Xiao Xiao want to pack Iwagakure? Don't worry, it's all trained in Konoha. If the opponent dispatches a large force, or Tsuchikage personally makes a move, I will tell the sensing ninja to deliver the news as soon as possible. Taped Kakashi on the shoulder, Bajian took a step forward and jumped off the mountain first, Kakashi followed. The Night Owl team below has been assembled. And Tsunade, wearing a gambling cape, stood in the corner staring at Bajian. Of course, she did not join the Night Owl team, and Bajian did not invite. After rushing to the land of the earth day and night, Tsunade seemed to have a strange idea of producing cows. She wants to see how strong this kid is. I was able to stop her punch before, and I was able to control Nine Tails with a look. There are so many secrets in this kid. Especially when he knows something about the Senju clan, these things cannot be analyzed by ordinary people. The more mysterious it is, the more it will attract attention. As for checking Uchiha Itachi's body, she neither agreed nor refused. By Jing, everyone knows about the Senju and Uchiha clan, so I will choose whether to treat it after observing the formation. Hold Zanpakuto high. Bajian took a deep breath. Kurama on his shoulders also clenched his teeth, even mighty. From left to right, Uchiha Shisui, Uchiha Itachi, Hitaki Kakashi, Might Guy and Jiraiya who just joined the Night Owl team. Counting yourself, the powerful team of 6 has already shown its edge. Sometimes Bajian even thinks, at this time Yi Xiao counts whether he has the capital to fight against Akatsuki. If pain strikes in the future and pain 6 paths meets the Night Owl team, what will the result be? In this regard, Bajian faintly expects. In the dark, the blade light flashed by, and Bajian let out a low growl. Yi Xiao. In an instant, everyone drew out their weapons and entered combat readiness. Only Tsunade next to him scratched his head suspiciously, then rolled up his sleeves and was ready to move. As Bajian's figure rushed out, night fell completely. The night in the land of earth is not silent. Although the land of the neighboring kingdom of wind does not have the fierce Tuyer of the kingdom of wind, it will also be involved. Some yellow sand spreads on the road, and the country of soil is not densely covered with forest like the country of fire. The strange rocks that can be seen everywhere are the most beautiful scenery. Midnight. More than a dozen figures rushed out of Iwagakure to the road from Iwagakure to the land of thunder. They have already taken this road very well, and there is no place that is particularly prone to ambushes. So the vigilance has also been reduced a lot. Captain Zatu, what exactly does Tsuchikage-sama want to do? While rushing, a dark-skinned, cocky female ninja asked suspiciously. If you ask so much what you are doing, you know the temper of Master Tsuchikage. Just do your own thing. Love is on the line. Z2 shook his head. The answer to this question is obvious. Although it is a peaceful age, the master is the most threatening to bear. The combat power of the village is a condition that a big forbearance village should have. Konoha has undergone changes. Master Tsuchikage seems to no longer regard Konoha as a threat, and focuses on the target. Newly placed on the top of Cloud Shinobi Village. The reason is not difficult to analyze. The negotiation that was not completed last time is time to start again. How much benefit can be obtained depends on whether the high-level combat power of Cloud Shinobi Village is restored. This is the core purpose of this team. As he was on his way, a chill suddenly appeared in Z2's heart. Instantly raised his head and looked forward. The loess was blown by the breeze, and several figures were standing calmly in the yellow sand that was neither high nor low. Enemy attack. Almost immediately, Z2 returned to his senses and gave a signal. But time seems to have stopped at this moment, accompanied by a hum of ears. His head flew to the sky. In the end, what was imprinted in his mind was a figure that was not a high, and a needle that did not look like a human. The blood of the pupils flew into the air, mixed with the soil that was caught in the sky, and dyed it completely red. Nodded, Kakashi ordered the team to start moving the corpse. Yes, he is here to kill people. Yi Xiao was hidden in the darkness again. The unsuspecting squad only took a few breaths, and the whole army was wiped out. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Code Ing. The screams one after another. Kakashi, who cut the back of the team, pinched Reikiri and Shisui to complete the silence. Deeds cooperation. The one who greeted them in front was the blood-stained Zanpakuto. Throw their bodies at the door of Iwagakure. A drop of blood dripped from the tip of Bajian's knife. The new loess concealed the terrible conditions on the ground. Leave a word. As Bajian said, there is no need to stay alive. The wind blows the earth. Starting from Zanpakuto, Bajian calmly said to Kakashi. This is just the beginning. The second is more. Chapter 132. Konoha doesn't have that confidence. Early morning, when the ninja guarding the entrance of Iwagakure slowly awakened from the illusion. A cry full of sorrow spread to the entire Iwagakure. Dead body. Bloody corpse. They are all familiar faces, their companions. The scars on that, and the miserable condition of their heads, cut their inner parts like a knife. Yesterday, these comrades still had confidence and handed in the pass in front of them to go outside the village to execute the 1,000. But now they are all dead in front of them. The screams of grief attracted more Iwagakure ninjas. In an instant, the village was covered with a haze. You said, why don't they have such grief on their faces when they attack Konoha? Shisui, who watched this scene from a distance, sighed. Hatred is conceived in the killing, and it seems to be endless. Jianzhang said, let us not think so much. Itachi shook his head. He has experienced how brutal the people invaded Konoha. In any case, this situation is not as good as the picture in my mind. Just follow Jianzhang and watch the changes in the future. Changes need victims. This is an inevitable phenomenon. Itachi has already seen too much, just as Jianzhang said, putting the pattern in the whole world. You will discover how small this death is. When do you want to wake me up? It seems I don't know the truth. And that's not what Bajian said in the original words. What he said is that the Uchiha clan has neuropathy. Can't be stimulated, so can't think about it. Although I don't know what neuropathy means, but it doesn't seem to be a good thing, so you really listen to it. Go in. Shisui flipped over Byakugan, pulled Itachi and turned away, ending the observation mission. Boom. Tsuchikage building, inside Onoki's exclusive office. A crisp sound spread far away. The fragile desk was shattered under the angry palm of the old and strong third Tsuchikage. Who did it? This is provoking Iwagakure. Naturally it is provocative. In Iwagakure's prestige and unique Onoki, he would be. Danzo's blocking from time to time is completely different. In the entire Iwagakure, there is only the voice of his Onoki alone. And his identity deserves this respect. His grandfather is first Tsuchikage Shihei, and his master is second Tsuchikage. This relationship also makes him the third. Acting on behalf of Tsuchikage is extremely stable, without the slightest pressure. The only difference of opinion represents Laozi, who has left the village at this moment. He is the unique Tsuchikage, the inheritor of the will of the stone. But this is how he possesses absolute authority. His subordinates were killed and thrown to Iwagakure's doorway. Is this demonstrating to him? Angrily listened to the Lois who was in charge of inspecting the corpse next to him. He could no longer control his heart. Angrily slapped over the table. The wound was cut by a sharp blade. Basically, it was killed by a single blow. Z2 has rich experience in leading the team, but it does not rule out that the opponent uses the change technique to approach the next one. The situation of beheading. Quote, in addition to the knife wounds, there are a few people who need to escape through their hearts, and a few others have burn marks on their bodies. As the son of third Tsuchikage Onoki, Lois's ability is still very good. After personal inspection, several lethal factors have been determined. Analyzing the identity of the other party through these factors is a useful method for ninjas. But this method sometimes does not work well. For example, although Iwagakure is the ninja village in the country of soil, it doesn't mean that there is no one who knows water style. Ninjas, and even ninjas who specialize in earth style can release other attributes after reaching Jonin. The escape technique is only ridiculously ineffective, so no one will fight in that way stupidly, but because of this nature, it is easy to cover up the scars on the corpse. What's even more troublesome is that nowadays ninjas usually hide their bodies when completing tasks. Come up, there are only a few cases where corpses can be used for analysis. But those who killed the intelligence squad to Thunder Country did not hide their thoughts at all, and threw their bodies at the door of Iwagakure. As Onogi said, this is a great provocation. On the other hand, favorable information can also be analyzed from the above. Lightning style. Onoki's face went dark. Is it possible that you want to send someone to investigate the false and real missions of Cloud Shinobi Village? It shouldn't. Even if it's an information leak, this is the trump card of the land of the earth. At Cloud Shinobi Village, he also understands that it is impossible to throw the body back so arrogantly. It should not be Cloud Shinobi Village. Lois has a solemn expression, others don't know, but this kind of lightning style cuts into the heart accurately. Surgery. I know the name. Quote. Reikiri. After a daze, Onoki and Huang Tu understood something instantly. Reikiri. One of the famous tricks of Sharingan Kakashi. This unique method seems to be the only person in the entire ninja world who knows how to use it. And they don't know what to say directly, they have determined Kakashi's identity without any basis. It's worth knowing that in the Third Ninja World War, it was the Namikaze water that cut off the supply line of the Shinjubi Bridge. In the battle of the Kakashi team under the gatekeeper, the wounds of their ninja when they died were very similar to this time. Konoha. Onoki took a deep breath and calmed down. The will of stone symbolizes perseverance and perseverance. He understands this, but sometimes he can't do it. It's not ruled out that someone masters this trick, and then criticizes Konoha. In short, Reikiri is no doubt. The door to the room was suddenly opened, and a panicking Iwagakure ninja rushed in. Even the newly appointed Namikaze Minato, whether it is prestige or means, will definitely be suppressed by third generation and won't make waves. Until the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, the old man has dealt with. Quote. Code wording factory. Sarutobi is the kind of ninja who can bear it, how can he agree to this kind of revenge? Konoha, I don't have that confidence. Boom. Huang Tu nodded, thought for a while and said again, Father, considering that we have been with. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Boom. Other ninja people attacked Konoha together. If Konoha's ninja did it, would it be revenge? Except for the second Hokage Senju Tobarama's tricks, the other two can never have the courage to start the attack first. Master Tsuchikage, someone has been killed again. Third more. Angry Onoki kicked the wreckage of the poor desk, grabbed the ninja and rushed out. Where? Take the old man over. Konoha, are you kidding me? With a sneer, Onoki's face was disdainful, from their first Hokage Senju Hashirama, then. He is already extremely angry. Chapter 133 At this moment, on behalf of Konoha, I declare war on Iwagakure. It is different from the corpse found before. This time the location is on a small road about kilometers away from Iwagakure. Similar to the previous method of death, it was killed by one blow. Looking at the corpse in front of him, Oyemu gritted his teeth and raised his head tightly. This is his subordinate who ordered the patrol to find the enemy's trail. Someone in Iwagakure was killed and the corpse was sent to the gate of Iwagakure, which proved that the enemy would not go far. So it is necessary to send chase ninjas to investigate. But he did not expect that this elite team of Iwagakure, carefully trained by him, would be so unpredictable. I vaguely remember the vigorous look of these subordinates when the order was issued. It's so dead. The sorrow and anger in his eyes turned into anger, and the aura on Onoki's body was extremely unstable. Who is it? The roar of the old man always makes it feel particularly heart-piercing. But when he finished saying this sentence, he suddenly felt the instinctive danger of 80 to 50, and quickly flew into the air without any hesitation. In the next second, a black-red light struck from the front. Wherever it goes, no matter whether it is hard rock or soft soil, it is all destroyed. Sero of the black and red sword. Shubai gave Bajian the power after putting on the mask. Boom. The earth was shaking, the entire space became extremely unstable, and those Iwagakure ninjas who did not react were all lost. The power of this flash is so terrible. The real destructive force. The only pity is that after Sero of the sword rushed to the distance and exploded a mountain, there was still a figure in the air. 2 Libra Onogi, Iwagakure's third Tsuchikage. Realizing the danger, he flew into the sky the first time. But the guards who came with him were not so lucky, and the whole army was wiped out with a single blow. If Onoki reacts slowly, or if he uses defensive ninjutsu such as Tuliubi to resist, then Bajian is sure that he will not die and will be seriously injured. After Hollow, he possesses both Shinigami and virtual abilities. The ordinary earth style that destroys everything is absolutely irresistible. This is Bajian's self-confidence. Died. All dead. Onoki in the sky looked dull, watching this scene in disbelief. What a terrifying power is this? He hit Zanpakuto, step by step as if stepping into the air. Bajian looked at the old man in front of him. 2 Libra Onogi, if you look at Onogi from an outside perspective, there is no doubt that he is a respectable Tsuchikage. On the opposite side, those so-called respects cannot affect Bajian's mentality. Who is your excellency? The person who can issue such a terrorist attack will never be unknown. Onoki knew this very well. With the anger and incomprehension in his heart, Onoki yelled at Bajian. Iwagakure and your excellency for no reason, why do you want to do this? No grievances and no grudges. Is this your consciousness? Can actively attack others, but others cannot fight back. Well, people in this world are all old double standards, there is no need to be true. Seems to have noticed something. Onoki's gaze finally fell on Bajian's arm. There, the forehead protector representing Konoha Genin is tied sturdily, seeming to mock his eyes. A kid in Konoha, and many more, with a knife, and such a strong imp. Are you that Konoha Kenpachi? The furious Onoki recovered in an instant. The kid in front of him has no idea of hiding his identity. Onoki is not dull. In fact, as the third Tsuchikage of Iwagakure, he has always been concerned about the rumors of the ninja world. He has heard the legend of Konoha Kenpachi. But for rumors, no one will take it as true. But after seeing that terrifying knife just now, Onoki understood. This kid is stronger than the rumored one. Why? Oyemu gritted his teeth and spit out 3 words with a grimace. Why did you invade the territory of the land of the earth and attack the villagers of Iwagakure? Why? Bajian was stunned, he knew his identity, and he was still asking why. Co-author, you really should just attack Konoha, forget it. Licking his old face to ask why. Why attack Iwagakure? Aren't you afraid of starting a war between the country of fire and the country of soil? Onoki's eyes flickered. He was not as dull as he thought, but he was involved in the attack on Konoha. According to common sense, even if Konoha knew that Iwagakure was involved, the dumb must have eaten it. Because they have no evidence. In case of revenge, the 3 ninja villages except Cloud Shinobi Village are Konoha's targets. If you do it, it will even evolve into the 3rd ninja war. Konoha definitely doesn't have that courage. The times have changed, Onoki first. The weak Konoha in your mind is in the past tense. What I have said, it seems that you have all forgotten. Remind you again under 0. As long as I stand there, Konoha will be the number 1 ninja village. No one can tolerate provocations. A long sigh came from Bajian's mouth, and then a touch of sarcasm suddenly appeared on his face, and Zanpakuto pointed at him. You just said war, right? Well, quote. Below, as Minister Konoha Anbu, acting as Hokage's power. At this moment, on behalf of Konoha, I unilaterally declare war on Iwagakure. Until the dead. For a long time, Saihei is the other Shinobu village declaring war on Konoha. And now Konoha took the initiative to invade and directly switched roles. Declare war. Is he serious? Onoki was stunned. This kid, do you know the meaning of the 2 words declaring war? That means that from today the 2 ninja villages will be completely plunged into the flames of war, which will kill people. And the number of deaths is much higher than that of the ninjas who died around Iwagakure today. Boy, there is no need for you to be so rampant in front of the old man. A guy who doesn't know how to respect seniors, don't underestimate Tsuchikage. Dust escape. Original world stripping technique. Put your hands on your chest, the very special white light began to expand. Dust escape. Bajian squinted his eyes and the figure instantly floated into the sky. Zaraki Kenpachi's template has been unlocked by nearly a third. At this moment, he is the real Shinigami. As Shinigami, Bajian inherited Kenpachi's physical fitness soaring. Shunpo, which is faster than body flicker technique, avoids this kind of attack. Dust escape belongs to the blood succession boundary and the blood succession elimination, the power is extremely powerful 5.7. But the number of people killed in the original work is extremely limited. The reason is very simple. Unless you use the boundary stripping technique, it is very difficult to attack people. Bajian is Shinigami. Shinigami is an existence standing in the sky. Flying is just one of the abilities. After the furious Onoki released the dust, he saw Yi Bajian who was flying higher than him. I advise you not to be furious here, that stuff can't hit me. And to give you a gift after the declaration of war, might as well look back. Pointing Zanpakuto behind Onogi, Bajian's face showed a bright smile. Tailed beast bomb from 9 tails, please accept it. Boom. The earth began to tremble. The disaster has officially come. Fourth more. Coding. My body is really uncomfortable today, I want to vomit so the code word speed is very slow, yes. I can't afford readers. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 134 Art, this is real art. The moment Onoki turned his head, disaster followed. Maybe he will regret his choice today when he comes to the end of his life. If you don't look back, the disaster won't happen. That's just if. He has no regrets for a long time. The gorgeous tailed beast bomb exploded as the last scenery of Iwagakure. Force tail. Deservingly the strongest tail beast. Whenever you have a heart with it and turn on the 9 tails chakra mode, you can even turn on the golden body. This alone is not comparable to other tail beasts. Not even 8 tails. According to Lee Lama, even tailed beast bomb is divided into ranks. If you are not happy to brew it for 10 or 20 minutes before throwing the tailed beast bomb out, that kind of lethality is unimaginable. Of course, it itself will become weaker due to the release of chakra. The chakra of the tail beast is never infinite. There is a fundamental difference between approaching infinity and infinity. So the general tailed beasts don't do that. How many chakras in the body put a large amount of tailed beast bomb? When the shock of the explosion came, Bajian swung a red and black knife into the air. That is a signal to retreat. Everything I did today is enough for Iwagakure to drink a pot. 04 Onogi is still sluggish, but Bajian did not directly attack him and fight him desperately. Just a tail beast, Iwagakure is not that fragile, and Iwagakure has nothing else, the number of ninjas is indeed outrageous. The 3rd Raikage died under the siege of thousands of ninjas in the land of Earth. The tailed beast bomb has been released, it is necessary to evacuate. As for Onoki, even the tailed beast bomb of 9 tails has a limited degree of destruction without a full attack. Iwagakure needs someone who can stand up. The person in front of you is the 3rd Tsuchikage. Anyone who can be called a shadow is not weak. Dust for Bajian, who has not yet unlocked high-speed regeneration, the threat still exists. It is a terrible force that can decompose everything. The opponent is already prepared for his own sword, it is difficult to kill Onoki in a short time. Keep him, and slowly feel the despair, let him understand why Bajian came here, and then let go of the posture of using the tone of predecessors to teach younger generations, then Bajian will choose to chat with him peacefully. Appreciate it, and take the next step first. Nodded to the sluggish Onogi, Bajian greeted him like an acquaintance of the other party. Wait, aren't you afraid that I will let the 2 Jinchuriki underneath sneak into Konoha and put tailed beast bomb? The tail beast is the ultimate weapon of a village. Aren't you afraid of Konoha being attacked? The heart-piercing Onoki turned his head and asked hysterically. Under normal circumstances, even the enemy ninja village rarely uses the power of the tail beast. Even if it is used within the tolerance range. Because they knew that once the tail beast broke out, the opponent's revenge would follow. This is why Senju Hashirama assigned the tail beast to other shinobu villages. With the ultimate force in hand, each ninja village has its own whole cards, so even if the game is fierce, this kind of tailed beast bomb situation in other villages has never appeared. Now, this rule is broken. This kid brought 9 tails and shot Iwagakure with a tailed beast bomb. That's not something Iwagakure can resist. If he is there, he can call on all ninjas to use Earth style to block. If he is not there, it is not certain whether his son Huang Tu can react to it. Originally, he was thankful that Huang Tu did not come to explore the corpse outside the village, but he found that Iwagakure was even more dangerous than outside. Sorry, I can split that thing in half. Even if you are not in the village by coincidence, the master Namikaze Minato will still need the god technique and transfer the tailed beast bomb. It's not difficult. And I promise, if you do that, I will cut off the heads of all people in the land of Earth in front of you, let their blood spill on your face, and finally gather into a warm sea of blood for you to soak. A bath. Touching his chin, Bajian's smile is so palpitating. You can't bear the temperature of that blood. The bloody breath in the little ghost words in front of me makes Oyemu's face extremely pale. Is this kind of thing really something a kid can say? Devil. Crazy man. Are you crazy? You just want to provoke the 4th ninja war. You are a devil. Why do people like you exist in the ninja world? Devil. The most appropriate word to describe Yi Bajian at this moment. It is also a word called by countless enemies. This title is even louder than Konoha Kenpachi. Konoha's devil. This title sounds pretty good. Bajian nodded at Onoki honestly. Thank you for the compliment. Go back and see Iwagakure. Maybe your son is not dead yet. Goodbye. In the next moment, Bajian's figure disappeared, leaving behind a painful and struggling face. That kid. Konoha. What do they want? Revenge or something? Killing so many of his men is enough, right? Why ruin Iwagakure? He does not know. Perhaps I will never understand where the bitter fruit of today comes from. Shadow. The old double mark. It's okay to give others pain. Once it happens to yourself, it seems to be wronged. No wonder Nagato makes people eat rice everywhere. Isn't Onoki eating less rice at this time? Above a mountain outside Iwagakure, Bajian is heading to the meeting point set before. Seeing something, the figure of the frowning teenager fell straight down. Yellow hair, blue eyes. A back figure who is not too tall is kneeling on the mountain at this moment, watching the distance because of the tail beast. Brilliant fireworks from the explosion. And he was muttering something 820 in his mouth. After the puzzled Bajian approached, he finally heard what he was talking about. Art. This is the real art. His body trembled, and his appearance seemed to be completely shocked by the visual impact of this explosion. But according to Bajian's memory, Deidara left the village at the age of 9 and only when he joined Shao. Coding. Especially knowing what the other person wants. Will appear here. Hey, you blocked my appreciation of art. Only 12 years old. Why are you here? Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. This is not because the original work always used explosive art to destroy Iwagakure and was forced to leave the village. That's an old artist. Do you live in Deidara? The building below is exactly the same as the anime scene when Deidara was captured. Art. Then I ask you, do you want to meet the artist who exploded? With eyes blocked, Deidara said angrily. 5th more. Walking to the other side, Bajian asked curiously, according to the time, Deidara should not be. It's just that he is still young at this time, and he seems to be only 8 years old. It is easy to arouse the curiosity of the artist. Looking at the bottom of this mountain, Bajian suddenly realized. Come with me, I will show you. He patted Deidara's shoulder, who was a little excited, and Bajian smiled mysteriously. Chapter 135 Insane Uchiha Obito. Outside Iwagakure. Above a certain mountain peak. More than 200 Anbu's subordinates are resting, sharing the results of today's battle. Nine-Tails' tailed beast bomb is very powerful. And taking advantage of Iwagakure's chaos, Anbu's shadows also reaped a lot of their lives. This is a feat, but it is not enough to be recorded on the wall of merit. So this team is still eager to kill. Don't worry, following the minister, the dream of going to the wall will never be too far away. And at the highest point of the mountain, the Night Owl team has been combined. Jiraiya was a little melancholy, and took out a small notebook to record something. And the somewhat boring Tsunade pulled Shizune, and was sitting down on Itachi for a thorough examination. Shizune was the one who did it, and she was the one who saw the problem. Until now, she still has a prejudice against Uchiha. But by Jing Uchiha Itachi is that kid's friend, so it's nothing to help. In the middle position, Deidara struggled to see the fox in front of him lost in thought. Shisui and Kakashi beside him, and Guy can't laugh. Are you really the old artist who caused the explosion? An incredibly suspicious look filled Deidara's eyes. How can it be? Such a perfect old artist who made such a big explosion turned out to be a fox. What a joke. This fact is really unacceptable. Go, show him a. Bajian calmly threw a bottle of erguodu to Kurama, then patted it on the head. Tui. Blow down. Seemingly deliberately showing off, the respected Kurama finally made a small-tailed beast bomb in front of Deidara, and then sneezed it against the mountain behind him. The blasting hit, and people looked at it in surprise. The small mountain was bombed and collapsed. It really is an old artist. This blasting art form is the essence. Deidara became excited instantly, took out the explosive clay from his arms like 9 tails, and started chewing with his mouth with both hands. Spreading his hands and aiming at the open space over there, Deidara took a deep breath. Tui. Art is an explosion. Blast down. The blasting llama, not too big, not too small, looked disgusted. That's it. Is this level also worthy of being called an explosion? That, cough cough, made a mistake. A little embarrassing. You are not a mistake, but one missing step before using art. Kurama squinted his eyes and said something like, and jumped directly on Deidara's body with both legs and underestimated a few words to his ears. This works. Deidara's expression changed. If you don't believe me, try it. Kurama said calmly. Good. For the sake of art, Nodding, Deidara once again inserted his hand into the backpack he carried to chew, and then took a deep breath and uttered a burst of gas to the sky. The god of explosion, Lord Nine Tails, the strongest tail beast, please give me strength. Blow down. The detonating clay was thrown to the ground, and the shock of the explosion shocked everyone. Damn it. Really useful. Deidara knelt in front of Nine Tails with bright eyes. Old artist, please accept me as a disciple. Little things. He smiled and patted Deidara on the head. Kurama seemed very pleased. Bajian could see clearly, it was clear that this guy had put a fart into the clay pocket when he jumped on him. What kind of ninjutsu is flat and Nine Tails chakra will become a lot more powerful. It is normal for the explosion power to increase. However, from the results, the fooled Deidara has completely regarded leeway as a belief. This is a good thing. People like Deidara are indeed a little bit frustrated in the original work. Cold outside and hot inside, and people like Alfie can establish friendship. Even after Impure World Reincarnation was resurrected, he asked if Alfie was alive. In terms of ability, it can be considered as an individual. Iwagakure didn't want it, and it wouldn't be a big deal for Konoha to collect it. Hey, kid, come here a minute. Just as Bajian was thinking about how to arrange Deidara, Tsunade suddenly came over and pulled his hand to the side. Is Itachi a big problem? Bajian frowned and asked. This is a very rare disease. Tsunade sighed. Even me, this is the first time I have discovered this kind of case. From the brain to the lungs, and then to the whole body, there is a meridian that always jumps tightly. If it is too stimulated, that meridian will have a problem. This disease is well hidden, but when it breaks out, it's a terminal illness. Especially the stronger the strength, the more troublesome the treatment will be at that time, because mobilizing chakra will make the pressure of the accounting meridian greater. So, Bajian reached out and interrupted Tsunade. Bajian has almost understood the cause of it. The origin of the so-called terminal illness is the kind of negative state accumulated since childhood, and always thinking of the problem with Hokage Kakuzu, and the stimulation of the extermination completely caused the Itachi's disease to break out. Bajian is too lazy to listen to these factors. Give me a word, can it be cured? He just wants to know the reason. Tsunade check is only a backup plan. It is really impossible. The system mall can completely solve this problem. The reason for consulting Tsunade is just to prescribe the right medicine. Even if you exchange it, you must exchange the right thing. Can't you let me finish? Tsunade flipped through Byakugan. This disease is not actually a disease, that is, the faith he is staring at in his heart must not collapse. In other words, as long as the person he believes in does not fall, the chance of an outbreak is very small. This is a mental illness. When his Joe's companions fall one by one, the accumulation of depression will become deeper and deeper. In other words, don't die, he has nothing wrong with him. What's this special? Bajian flipped through Byakugan. Forget it. Wait for the points to be cut flat, but if it is a meridian problem, then Ashura's chakra should be able to cure it effectively. He is still young anyway. As for this kind of crazy thinking. Squinting his eyes, Bajian hooked his finger at Itachi. Later, the teenager ran over with curiosity in his eyes. Dumb, if you just think about it, I'll beat you up. Quote. However, he was a little panicked after being examined. Who did I provoke? Itachi has an innocent face. The country of rain. It is still a familiar rainy day. In an underground cave. Black Zetsu looked at the body who was sitting up slowly in the distance with shock and fear in his eyes. Really come alive. But now Obito is no longer the real Obito, right? Oh, my uncle Afei is a human being. Get out, or kill you. The body suddenly stopped shaking, and Obito's familiar voice came out of the mask. One person, multiple souls. It's not just the fusion of the body, in order to repair the extremely uncomfortable sense of lack of soul, crazy belt. The soil even brought the soul that tried to absorb Alfie, not only Alfie's soul, but also other abnormal white Zetsu. He is no longer, good no, him. But a lunatic. As Kurigakure lost. Sharingan turned around slightly, and Obito's breathing was a little short. Sure enough, I'm not around to control, Yagura's illusionist trash, even resists. Sixth more. Boom. I want to kill you. Kill your shop. It was Yi Bajian who took Kurigakure. No need to go. The soul seems to be struck by lightning. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. I do feel unwell today, I'm sorry, my reader, can't continue to add changes. Only a heart-piercing sentence could be heard throughout the cave. I don't know the pain, maybe this kind of head pain is not as painful as the tearing of the heart and soul. He vents again. 6 more arrived. Can't do it. Absolutely, you go to Kurigakure to see what's going on. Obito hit the wall next to him with his head like crazy. Boom. Black Zetsu was relieved watching Obito returning to normal. This guy can change several people a day. The soul talks to him. Fortunately, has it finally suppressed the souls of white Zetsu? Yi Bajian. Chapter 136 Konoha Anbu, who makes the ninja world tremble with the sudden emergence of an army. Kurama has one more sincere believer, which does not have much impact on the elite of the Night Owl team and Anbu. Disperse the team around Iwagakure, but if there are ninjas close to Iwagakure or ninjas coming out of the village, kill them without hesitation. The blood spread thousands of meters, and no one cares after the breeze. Only the simple and honest land records everything that happened. Bajian personally led the team and only relied on the tacit cooperation of more than 200 people to directly cut off Iwagakure's connection with the outside world. It's not that Onoki has regrouped and charged with Iwagakure's remaining power. It's just a pity that Bajian, who is sensitive to Reiatsu's crisis, will always give absolute and precise command at the first time, and then order Nine Tails to take his little brother against the originally broken and dilapidated. The reconstructed Iwagakure comes to show some art. As Bajian said, surrounded by rocks, Iwagakure has an enviable natural barrier. But once the road to go out is full of dangers and you dare not step on it easily, this place will also become a unique place. Although there are many Iwagakure ninjas in the soil, not all ninjas gather in the village. Bajian, who is a high-level Konoha, knows this very well. Ninjas are assassins hidden in the night. Tens of thousands of Iwagakure ninjas are hidden in strongholds in the territory of Earthland or assigned to other countries for reconnaissance missions. What remains in Iwagakure is only a part. The killing continued. Relying on the radar-style Reiatsu scan, the real Bloody 143 came to the land of the land. Death and killing go hand in hand, this Anbu team has completely awakened in blood and battle. A sudden emergence. The entire ninja world seemed to be affected. The changes in the territory of the land are not hidden from the ears of the major shinobu villages. When they learned what had happened, they were completely shocked. 200 Anbu is an elite, persecuted ninja village, and even has paid an extremely painful price and still has no way to deal with it. Army raid. Then his house is gone. Although Iwagakure didn't have any valuable things left, the survivors were still in the corner waiting for the killing to end. Use the elite Jonin to ambush and wait for the chance to fight back. Sorry, whenever they do, the attack will be launched from behind them, and the dead are still what they call the elite. The mysterious appearance made Iwagakure's death rate soar. Dispatch different teams in batches to encircle and leave here. The question is, where are they going? Here is their home. Where can they go after leaving here? Counting on the shelter of other shinobu villages. Don't be kidding, after someone in this cruel world learns about your tragic situation, it's not bad to add Ed Frost on the snow. Iwagakure is their home. Leaving here, they are not even considered prisoners. In the end, Onoki gave up resistance. Shrinking forces, while consolidating Iwagakure's defenses, proceeded to rebuild. Because he found one thing, that is, as long as you go out of this village, death is waiting for them. This is an invisible fear and psychological oppression. Iwagakure's atmosphere was extremely suppressed. As time went by, a secret letter was delivered to the hands of the major shinobu village shadows. Over the past 3 months, they have closely followed the changes in the land of the earth. From the initial dismissiveness to the exclamation, Zaiden's final silence. They have to admit a terrible fact. That is, if Konoha's elite Anbu come to their country to toss once, their fate may not be better than Iwagakure. There are also doubts. Isn't Konoha afraid of being retaliated by doing this? Just like the method Konoha Kenpachi said, sprinkle the blood of all the villagers on him and let them feel the temperature of the blood. But think about it carefully, the elites who were dispatched to the country of fire last time were blocked out without even entering the ninja village. Konoha is scary. That young strong man was finally recognized by everyone. The land of soil is the first step of Konoha's revenge. Konoha Kenpachi's name is impressive. It is different from the previous generations of Hokage. His body is more enlightened than anyone else. A vivid interpretation of the words people do not stand unsteadily. Now that I know my name, how can I dare to commit a crime? The tragic situation of the land of the earth is a portrayal of this sentence. Invading Konoha can, as long as you have the consciousness to bear this painful price. And in the process of this killing, Jiraiya once again asked his inner doubts. Under the rule of power, the world will be unified for a short time, but after the death of the highest combatant, the world will be separated again. How to crack this situation? The explanation given by Bajian made Jiraiya even more shocked. I won't die. In the future, those ninjas who are agitated will have a place to give them their fists. If you put aside the perspective of the 5 ninja villages, they suddenly have a common enemy. If that enemy wants to destroy this world and treat this world as a nursery, the contradiction will no longer exist. Shinigami, never die. This was Bajian's answer, but Jiraiya could never understand it. With the system, the first template to unlock Shinigami, the benefit of this template is a powerful soul. When the knife is swung to the end, he will be immortal. Really stand at the top. What kind of scenery is like that? Bajian is full of expectations. Master Fengying, if you don't do anything, you can be sure that Konoha's next target of revenge will be. It is the country of wind. The land of wind, Sand Shinobi Village. Fengying's office. The elder of Sand Shinobi Village who was about to retire, the mother-in-law of the 1,000 generations looked at Luo Sha in front of him and said her thoughts. On the table, there are piles of information about the land of the earth. It records the changes in the land of the country in the past few months. Sand Shinobi Village, why invade Konoha? The village fights Konoha together. The second option is to directly attack the country of fire. Quote. We have no choice. It seems that I will trouble you to take a trip. The first option is to abandon the prejudice against Iwagakure, give Iwagakure support, and rock Shinobi. The third option is to send a peace talk team before Konoha's Anbu comes to the Kingdom of Wind. It was too sudden and sudden. Whether there is Konoha's participation in it, they are not sure, but they are certain that Kurumi may in Konoha. The news of Kurigakure's coup has come out, but after careful analysis, I always feel that the coup. The only thing left is the Kingdom of Wind. There is a certain connection between the leaves. The Cloud Shinobi village of Thunder Country did not participate in the last plan to attack Konoha. First more. After a melancholy sigh, Luo Sha finally smiled bitterly. The reason is not difficult to analyze. As she said, if nothing is done, Sand Shinobi village will become the next target of revenge. The mind is still very clear. But I have to admit that the 2 wars cost Sand Shinobi village a bit high. Go to the land of fire, let go of your posture. Chio, as the frontline commander of the 2nd Ninja War and the 3rd Ninja War Sand Shinobi village, her. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Code word ING Chapter 137 The Knife of Liberation. Your life is in my control. In areas surrounded by rocks like this, there is very little continuous rainfall. But what is surprising is that such a hazy and rainy day has lasted for nearly half a month. On the north side of the country of soil, it is an area close to the country of rain. More than a dozen makeshift tents are hidden in one end of the mountain col. Next to it is the water source. Here, it is very suitable to be used as a temporary base. Captain Dirt Road still can't get in touch with the village. In the center of the tent, a tired Iwagakure ninja has a little anxiety on his face. They, who were ordered to be stationed here in charge of investigating the intelligence of the Kingdom of Rain, have not received new instructions for 3 months. The ninja dispatched back to the village also lost motion like sinking into the sea. Ninja, based on the execution of orders. Without new instructions, even if they are worried about changes in the village, they have no right to return to the village without authorization. If they return to the village, the overall situation in the country of rain will be violated, and they will not be responsible for delaying the fighter. But recently, news of the land has been continuously introduced to their ears. What Iwagakure exploded. There were numerous casualties among the villagers. Konoha's Anbu dealt a heavy blow to Iwagakure. Rumors such as this made their mood sink to the bottom. So desperately performing missions outside, in order to guard the relatives in the village. But now there is a problem in the rear, and the haze of this kind of heart is moderate and can't be wiped away. Wait a minute, Stone Sparrow has been dispatched back to the village for 3 days. If everything goes well, there will be news today. Quote. The Dirt Road captain shook his head. When he said this, he didn't actually have much confidence himself. Before Rock Sparrow's transmission team, they had sent 5 groups of ninjas back to the village, but so far no news has been returned. Even if the Rock Bird is the same as the Dirt Road, it is Jonin from the village, he is still a little worried. But as a captain, stabilizing the morale of the army is something that must be done. Sticking to their posts and waiting for news is the only thing they can do. Suddenly raising his head, an extremely dangerous feeling made the Dirt Road creepy. Years of experience in performing tasks made him react instantly. Enemy attack. The 2 words were just yelled out, and the temporary tent was bizarrely divided into 2. Hot blood spilled on his face, and the body of the Dirt Road began to tremble. The body of the companion who had just discussed the situation in front of him, together with the tent, divided strangely. 2991. Just as the cold voice of Shinigami pierced into Jonan's ears on the dirt road when Shinigami came, the figure carrying a knife entered in front of him in the next second. 2992. Another companion fell down. He even saw the ninja looking at himself for help before he died. 2993. 2994. Knife light kept flashing. It seemed to hit Jonan's heart on the dirt road. The body was still trembling, and the blood of his companion stimulated his nerves. Finally, he couldn't help this depressed atmosphere anymore, throwing down his weapon and ran back. All the pressure in the past 3 months broke out completely after the companion died in front of him. Devil. That is a devil. How humans fight the devil. Fear spreads. Seping forgot that he was a ninja, humbly fleeing backwards with his limbs. 2995. The killing continued, but the boy's figure suddenly became a little dull, and the confusion on his face became thicker and thicker. Chakra, a kind of energy produced by the perfect fusion of the various components of the human body, is the energy source for ninjutsu, illusion and physique. Quote. The origin of energy is the combination of bodily energy extracted one by one from the 130 trillion cells of the human body with the spiritual energy accumulated through practice and experience. Reiatsu is the density of the human soul. The higher the density, the stronger the power, and it is the source of Shinigami's power. The pressure released by the soul is strong enough that it can even force the opponent to be immobile. With a murmur, another enemy fell in front of him. 2996. Physical strength, physical fitness. According to different physiques and different bloodlines, the basic strength that has been improved through years of training. Body, spirit and soul. 2997. 3 different energies, but they all extend and refine from themselves, either active or passive. 2998. The 3 energies have the same root and are based on themselves. If you try to fuse, the result will not be as simple as 1 + 1 + 1. 2999. A new power, combined with chakra, reiatsu and the body's own qualities. The confused eyes gradually cleared up. A top-down coolness converges from Bajian's head to the soles of his feet. That huge Zanpo exuded 3 kinds of strange lights and began to interweave. In this scene, the dazzling brilliance of the young man was shocking. The Nightingale team in the distance felt the huge pressure for the first time. Jianzhang is stronger again. Itachi in the distance was stunned. Unlike the previous Jianzhang, the pressure this time is not only the urgency of the soul being held down, but also the transformation of the body. This is. Next to him, Tsunade was shocked, covering her mouth. Unlike what Itachi saw, what she saw was the body full of vitality. Such a powerful life force, she has felt it since her grandfather Senju Hashirama. Is it possible that he really has the blood of the Senju clan? How can this be? Body, spirit and soul. At this moment, the energies of the 3 were completely gathered together, and the feeling of manipulating his body as he pleased made Bajian slowly close his eyes. The power of Zaraki Kenpachi, the power of Bane. Chakra, spirit. This is my body. The body was trembling slightly, and the excitement and horror coming from the heart made Bajian pick up his Zanpakuto and slashed his arm. What is Jianzhang doing? The Yi Xiao members behind him watched this scene in shock, and it was too late to stop. Jianzhang is completing her transformation. Itachi shook his head and looked at Bajian's back, a little lost. He had seen this scene before, and it was on the roof of Mrs. Minato's house. That time of transformation, Jianzhang had a tendency to look in his eyes. Nine Tails quieted down. He walked ahead of himself again. Jianzhang, when can I stand in front of you and lay down something for you? He is getting stronger and stronger. Under the cutting of the sharp blade, the blood on the arm slowly gushes out and flows on the blade. But in less than a second, the wound has begun to heal. Zaraki Kenpachi's intrepidity is not only the terrifying sword technique, but also the terrifying resilience that no one can match. What is even more shocking is not the speed of recovery comparable to that of an immortal body. It's the Zanpakuto that began to change rapidly after being contaminated with Bajian's blood. The knife is still that knife. The changes are surprising. There is no need to hit the shoulder anymore. The black knife with the handle is filled with weird lines, and the slenderness and width make the whole blade look very elegant. Only the red chain at the end of the scar will flash black and red light from time to time. At this moment, his knife. Liberated. With his eyes still closed, everything around him entered Bajian's mind like a real picture. Zanpakuto lifted it high, and then plunged into the ground. Boom. The depressed atmosphere instantly expanded. The discomfort of strangling his throat greatly changed the look of Yi Xiao squad. The invisible barrier has been completely opened. That is the power of the domain. At this moment, your life is in my control. Crying. Kang. Darkness fell. Bajian's figure disappeared instantly. The next moment, the body of the Iwagakure ninja who was about to escape in front of him stopped. Puff. Blood bursts. Until his death, he still didn't see the man's moves clearly. 3,000. 3,000 kills. His knife. Finally liberated. Second more. Codeword Ing Force. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 138 Walk Home. Shame. The name is not very good. But Shikai's liberation effect made Bajian extremely satisfied. Starting today, he will deal with enemies with space ninjutsu, and he no longer has to prepare in advance to brew the super strength sword Sero. This is similar to absolute control of space. The greater the difference in strength, the stronger the scope and influence of this control. The advanced task is finally completed. Bajian at this moment is the real Shinigami, but it's not just Shinigami's power that can be used. It's a combination of three energies. The power he uses is significantly higher than that of chakra and reiatsu. And this kind of power is not limited to three kinds. In a few days, Bajian intends to try to add some fairy magic to the flat cut, which is natural energy. After all, in the Fourth Ninja World War in the later period, without the blessing of Shanshu, it was obviously not enough to kill the enemies of the Six Paths level. Of course, Bajian's knife can wipe out the soul, and it's dispensable for the blessing of fairy magic. No one thinks that they are stronger. Shanshu is still a solution that can be tried. It was chakra that other people's knives saw, and what he chopped out was loneliness. I don't know the power of Sage Mode's leveling for the time being, and he is not in a hurry. Shikai is just a master, and the feeling of three energies converging into one body has not completely adapted. It takes time to settle, and the best method of precipitation is to practice with a sword that never ends. Lifting up the new Zanpakuto and looking over it, Bajian nodded with satisfaction. The original thick and huge Zanpakuto became restrained after the change of his reiatsu, but the lines on the black blade made people feel extraordinary. It is still so handy, connected like one's own arms. The size of Zanpakuto can be changed according to reiatsu, not that the larger the Zanpakuto, the stronger the reiatsu. Kurosaki Ichigo in Shinigami was originally like Zanpakuto because I didn't know how to use reiatsu. But it can also be seen from the side that his reiatsu is not bad. This Zanpakuto is similar to Zangetsu, but it is more gorgeous and beautiful. In the future, Bajian will not have to wander around with that huge knife, but will be a real knife man with it at his waist. Wine gourds and knives will always make knives fall in love with them. This trip to the land, Bajian has gained a lot. The three energies of their own are completely integrated, Zanpakuto Shikai, and a generous flat cut point. These things are rewards brought by advanced tasks. Shikai is still like this, Bajian is even more looking forward to the rewards of the advanced tasks solved. Sword sang. Itachi walked over with a touch of complexity on his face, but it was more about the joy that Bajian became stronger. There is no need to talk too much between friends. Moreover, he is here to report the situation. Kakashi-san has just returned, saying that Onoki agreed with Konoha's previous conditions. He has been subdued. Itachi has a smile on his face and is softened. After entangled with more than 200 Anbu for 3 months, Onoki finally couldn't resist the pressure and chose to pray for Konoha's forgiveness. In the past 3 months, Onoki has not tried to talk to Bajian, and wants to solve the problem through negotiation. He directly rejected Bajian's first request. That is, Iwagakure bowed his head and apologized to Konoha. The kind of apology that makes an announcement to the ninja world. This is one of the conditions, and the second is the same as Cloud Shinobi Village. War supplies are paid and tribute is paid every year. For Onoki, who wants face, it's never easy to be able to do this. But he has no choice. If the Night Owl continues to eat the land of the earth, this country, this village of forbearance, will probably completely decline. He can't afford it. The country of soil can't afford it either. Bajian did not force the other party too much, and agreed to withdraw from the border of the country of Turkey when the two conditions were met. Different methods are needed to deal with different ninja villages. The existence of the land of the earth, or the disappearance of the land of earth, will bring more benefits. Bajian knows very well. Unification cannot be anxious. Konoha, who is already digesting the resources of Kurigakure, the country of water, does not have extra hands to control Iwagakure. So under this premise, it's the right way to dig more benefits from Iwagakure. When Kurigakure is assimilated, then it's time to actually start. Konoha needs capital now. Now that Onoki has said this, it means that the mission is over. I know, get ready to go to San Shinobi Village. Nodding, Bajian flung Zanpakuto to look at Anbu's ninjas. Eye for eye. The country of the earth has already paid the price, why did the country of the wind become a fish that slipped through the net? Bajian. But when he gave the order, Jiraiya walked over with a contact clam on his shoulder. This is the summoning beast of Mount Myoboku. Because Namikaze Minato has also signed a contract with Mount Myoboku, the contact muscle can pass messages between Minato and Jiraiya Zero. So Konoha actually knows what Bajian did in Tujikuni, and knows where they are. However, the contact muscles are not used frequently. After all, the toads of Mount Myoboku call themselves immortals, and they will be responsible for transmitting information only in emergencies. A scroll was spit out from the contact muscle's mouth, and then the toad glanced at Bajian and then disappeared with a bang. For some reason, Bajian saw a shock and alert in the toad's eyes. Shaking his head too lazy to care about the toad, Bajian picked up the scroll. The so-called 3 holy places, we don't know who dared to call it that way, some animals call themselves immortals, Bajian also thinks it's a bit outrageous. But he thinks he is not the son of prophecy, and he does not want to rely on Mount Myoboku to learn immortality, so if nothing else, he would not deal with the group of toads. The real power is the knife in the hand. Opening the scroll, Bajian's face was a little different. Shisui, who came by, glanced and was visibly taken aback. The envoys of the Kingdom of Wind are here. What are they going to do? Yes, there is only one thing on the scroll, and that is that the envoys of the Kingdom of Wind have suddenly arrived. Minato means to ask Bajian how to deal with it and seek Bajian's opinion. What else can be done is the same as Onoki's purpose. Bajian put away the scroll, grabbed the wine gourd and took a sip. Luo Sha is a wise man. From the news in the soil, he seems to have foreseen the future of the Kingdom of Wind. If you don't make 1.5 choices, I'm afraid the outcome of the Land of the Wind will be worse than that of the Land of the Earth. This is not what Feng Ying wants to see. So before Bajian did not act, he gave in directly. Laozi chose to surrender directly. Do you have to bear the heart? Very smart choice. But do they really have the determination to pay the price? With a sneer, the wine gourd was pinned to his waist again, and Bajian looked around. 3 months. Not only Bajian has completed the transformation. This Anbu unit has also undergone earth-shaking changes. The 3-month campaign can't be without casualties, but even the fallen ninja has shown the iron-blooded temperament that should be possessed. This is the real growth. The assassination special forces Konoha really needs. Pointing the knife to the sky, Bajian took a deep breath and let out a roar. Go. Go home. Third more. Code Ing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 139. This is the treatment they deserve when they accept the glory. Go home. 2 words represent extremely complex emotions. It's totally different from the feeling when they left Konoha. Maybe they will remember this taste for the rest of their lives. Glory back to the village. Compared with the tasks they have performed, these 3 months are not the longest. But it is definitely the most exciting and worthy of aftertaste. Take control of the Kurigakure regime with thunder and turn Kurigakure into Konoha's subsidiary. This alone is the credit of 4 or 5,000 miles. Although their contribution is only the icing on the cake, it is also the greatest honor to follow behind the minister. In addition, the trip to the land of the earth is the most exciting. More than 200 Anbu ninjas, abruptly against a ninja village. Iwagakure, one of the 5 great shinobu villages, is softened. Kurigakure's decisive killing, Iwagakure's strong threat. These things are enough to make them proud to say something to those behind them. They are Konoha's Anbu ninjas. The upright Konoha assassinated the special forces. It's not just a ninja who hides there, executes the dark verdict, and never shines. This change fills them with pride. At this moment, they looked at Yi Bajian with respect. Oh 4. It was this young man who made Anbu's proud rebirth, and the minister fulfilled his promise. The newly born Anbu will be the glory of Konoha. This sense of belonging and glory became their loyalty to Konoha. No one will become confused because of Anbu's mission, and will regard that glory as darkness. You can even proudly say to others that they are Anbu's ninjas and are proud of it. And this sense of belonging, after they came to Konoha village, it was upgraded to a higher level. This is the real Hokage. Looking up, Bajian smiled at Minato. Just as he led the Night Owl squad and returned from the Thunder Country after killing the quartet, Minato was watching him kindly. The only difference is that behind him, there are densely packed ninjas and villagers from Konoha village. The spontaneous formation stretched from one side of the street to the other. The young ninjas are full of excitement and immortality, while the older generations are full of satisfaction and envy. The villagers can only be grateful. After this team went deep into the land of the earth, one victory after another was sent back to Konoha. Destroy several strongholds in the land of the earth today, and kill the enemy for Konoha tomorrow. Minato has no intention of concealing such information, and will make public all the ninjas in front of the war have done. Let them know who is guarding this village. The new Anbu is Konoha's worthy hero. When there was a disaster in the village, after they charged forward and guarded, they did not forget the hatred in their hearts and brought their anger to Cloud Shinobi village. This is a memorable feat. Do you feel it, Kakashi? In the Night Owl team, Guy patted his chest excitedly and looked at his companion next to him. The relationship with Bajian and Itachi is very similar, they are also true friends. Yeah, I feel it, it's a totally different feeling. Nodding, Kakashi stroked his Sharingan. Dark, non-existent. This is the real Anbu. Xiao Xiao did something that no one else has ever done. The team walked forward, slowly taking off the mask on their face. The hero's face is remembered. Welcome home, heroes of Konoha. Opening his hands, Minato showed the temperament that little son should have. The warm smile at that moment contained everything. They are a family. You are there, Mrs. Minato. When approaching Minato, Bajian stopped and flipped. Byakugan jumped to his side. He never liked this kind of attention-grabbing situation to step in next. This moment of enjoying the glory is better left to Anbu's ninja. As for what I want to do, probably lying on Anko's lap and sleeping while enjoying the comfort of the little maid's fan. Or, Find Obi-Ushian and take a bath together, and then sit quietly under the swing together. There are always people who will miss in this life. Shi Yan has become one of the people Bajian misses. And it is the indispensable kind. But there will always be some astringent teenagers when glory is added. The members of the Night Owl team all come to Minato's side. This kind of dazzling gaze can be left to Anbu's men. This is the treatment they should have. It is all done with their lives. It is their own efforts to get the recognition of the villagers. Minato shook his head, but Bajian, according to your wishes, their names will be engraved on the wall of merit. But there are a few people I'm still considering. In addition to Lord Third Generation and Lord White Fang, there is another person who makes me a little bit entangled. Sarutobi. Bajian frowned. You're misunderstood. I talked to Master Third Generation about this matter. He said he would use his surplus to do something that is enough to make a contribution to the wall of merit. All the previous things should be turned over. Minato scratched his head unexpectedly, and Master Third Generation seemed to have changed a lot. For Master White Fang, I have already set out to disclose everything before, and there will be no problems. Is that so? The stone in Kakashi's heart beside him finally fell. It's not the so-called vanity on the meritorious wall, but the proof that his father is not a sinner in the village. This is the most important point. It is enough to wash 517 the infamy on the hero. Is this uncle able to be on your wall of merits? But the tail on Bajian's shoulders suddenly grinned at Namikaze Minato. How can I say that my uncle did not make a small contribution this time? Isn't the hero who will be defeated by Iwagakure be my uncle? Naturally, we will not forget everything that Master Nine Tails did for Konoha. Minato nodded in awe. He didn't expect a tail beast to contribute so hard to the village. Yes, you guys are on the road, my uncle will protect you from now on. Lord Nine Tails. These 4 words alone made Kurama feel refreshed. I've never felt that helping humans do something can still have this kind of fun. Well, it doesn't feel bad. The other one you mean? The problem of White Fang and Third Generation has been solved, then who is the other one? This person is a bit hard to say. Looking at Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha next to him, Minato finally spoke slowly under the gaze of the two. I assessed the troubled times with first Hokage Senju Hashirama and founded Konoha village, but then decided to rebel against Konoha, and after leaving, he made a comeback and wounded the ninja Shira who died at the cost of Master First Generation. Uchiha Madara. 4th more. Code wording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 140 Engrave his name by hand. Enjoy the joy of adding glory, but don't forget why these are obtained. The ceremony of welcoming heroes is ordinary, but very heartwarming and short-lived. As Minister Anbu, Bajian announced that he would give his subordinates a long vacation and give him enough time to rest before there are new tasks. By Jing, the day of returning to the village is already the 2nd month after the new year. During the mission in the land, the New Year festival has passed. Let the subordinates reunite with their families and enjoy the warmth brought by family love. The lights at Mitarashi's house have gone out. As an older sister, Enko started to prepare after receiving the news that Bajian was about to return home, intending to make up for the regret of not spending the new year with her younger brother. At dinner, Minato and Kushina came to Mitarashi's house with Naruto, who was less than a year old. Really enjoy the kind of family affection that I have never had before. I didn't say much about work matters at the entrance of Konoha village. Bajian did not directly give his opinion on whether Uchiha Madara's name should be carved on Konoha's meritorious wall. There was also the envoys of the Kingdom of Wind that had arrived at Konoha, but they didn't choose to take care of it. He doesn't want to think about anything now. Walking down the streets of Konoha, Bajian came to the entrance of the ninja school, a familiar location. Wait for a long time. A figure was standing straight there and waiting. Walked over, grabbed each other's hand without any explanation, and swept away the snowflakes that hadn't left in winter. The two sat on the swing. No, just arrived. A purple hair is very conspicuous under the surrounding snowflakes, and her small red face shows that what the girl is telling is only a lie. Agreed to walk together here at night. But Bajian knew that she must have waited here after school. With the swing up and down, the two hearts seemed to be closer. Bajian likes the feeling of not having to think about anything by her side. This feels like first love. There is no need to say anything too sweet between the two of you. Unconsciously, purple hair was spilled on Bajian's shoulder. My mother often leans on my father like this, don't get me wrong, I just try to see if it is so comfortable. Well, she always has her own reasons. 1 hour, neither long nor short, but some Bajian, who was worried about the girl's body, finally chose to. Mao Yuxian sent home. But when he came out of the street, Minato's voice suddenly came. Many years ago, I took Kushina home like you did. Weird yin and yang, puppy love is not learned from you. Bajian flipped through Byakugan. Teacher Minato has been waiting for a long time. He has followed since he left the house, seeing that it means wanting to walk with himself. It's better to have dinner together tomorrow. Sighing, Bajian walked over. So what you mean is, my early love looks like you. Say, please go. Don't say anything else. Yongtaeme's tricks for making girls are still worth studying. From the time of school to getting married, the attributes of sultry sisters have been considered full. Even after graduating from ninja school, he knew that this era belongs to heroes to save the beauty, and stood up at the critical moment when Kushina was kidnapped. Who doesn't like this kind of man? You'd better drink less wine. In the familiar streets of Konoha village, although winter is about to pass, the appearance of two people sitting on the bench with snowflakes is always strange. Minato just reminded him when he was suffocating. Ms. Minato, let's be honest, when will you become a mother-in-law? Bajian flipped through Byakugan. Following myself until now, Minato will be fine. Minato nodded. I had a chat with Mrs. Jiraiya before. I see everything you did outside this time, including your understanding and imagination of peace. But, Bajian, when I mentioned that man's name to you today, I always think you will become like him in the future. It is true that I agree with the fact that unity needs to kill, but you are still young, and I don't want to see you kill for the sake of killing. This is what he is worried about. It's not that things that have affected themselves by killing too much have never happened. 3 months, more than 3,000 murders. He is very worried that Bajian will change because of this and become a stranger, only the monster he knows to kill. What am I thinking about? Bajian sighed helplessly, but he also understood that this was Minato's concern for himself. In addition to being his disciple, he is also Naruto's brother. After thinking about it, Bajian extended his fist and hammered Minato's chest according to the old habit, and then rested his head in front of Minato. Why talk too much among men? Boom. The two raised their heads and bumped against each other, and the rock hanging in Minato's heart finally fell. He is still him. Bajian is also Bajian. Konoha Kenpachi still has the same name. Enough. This is the answer he wants. By the way, Bajian, what are you going to do with the messenger group of Sand Shinobi Village? Once there is Uchiha Madara's name, I will fill in the name on the merit wall in the next few days, and the final list has to be driven out. Even before going to bed, workaholics still think about the things in the village. This is really for the village, for Konoha's Hokage. Don't worry about the messenger group, Onoki will come to Konoha himself in a few days, and when he comes, start processing. Quote. But Uchiha Madara, I touched my chin, and there are some things that I should have told Minato. Said on the road. Standing up, they pulled Minato's sleeves and walked towards the center of Konoha. Speaking of Uchiha Madara, do you remember the man who attacked Konoha last time? As he walked, Bajian's expression became serious. Minato nodded quickly. That person calls himself Uchiha Madara. It would be dangerous. Isn't it Uchiha Madara that you call it? Bajian flipped through Byakugan, and so did Obito. The meritorious wall is just a backhand. There is only one credit for creating Konoha. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Minato was taken aback and asked hurriedly. Code Ing. Don't take this to play. Uchiha Madara. Bajian shook his head and brought Minato to the bottom of the wall of merit. The knife light flashed, and a name remained on the leader. It's not that Bajian has to engrave Madara's name, but that this thing will be useful in the future. You said that your voice has changed, your appearance has changed, and your moves have changed. People even think you are dead long ago, okay, and then you have to make Minato recognize you if you wear a mask. You mean, he is really Uchiha Madara? Fifth more. It's your disciple, my senior brother. Oh no, if you really let me call me senior brother, I would really betray the senior officials. Where's the face? His name is Uchiha Obito. Can you make the hapless kid who was disappointed in the world change his mind? Bajian doesn't know, he only knows that he has to fight to listen to you honestly. That person is not Uchiha Madara. Chapter 140 Engrave his name by hand. Enjoy the joy of adding glory, but don't forget why these are obtained. The ceremony of welcoming heroes is ordinary, but very heartwarming and short-lived. As Minister Anbu, Bajian announced that he would give his subordinates a long vacation and give him enough time to rest before there are new tasks. By Jing, the day of returning to the village is already the second month after the new year. During the mission in the land, the New Year festival has passed. Let the subordinates reunite with their families and enjoy the warmth brought by family love. The lights at Mitarashi's house have gone out. As an older sister, Enko started to prepare after receiving the news that Bajian was about to return home, intending to make up for the regret of not spending the new year with her younger brother. At dinner, Minato and Kushina came to Mitarashi's house with Naruto, who was less than a year old. Really enjoy the kind of family affection that I have never had before. I didn't say much about work matters at the entrance of Konoha village. Bajian did not directly give his opinion on whether Uchiha Madara's name should be carved on Konoha's meritorious wall. There was also the envoys of the Kingdom of Wind that had arrived at Konoha, but they didn't choose to take care of it. He doesn't want to think about anything now. Walking down the streets of Konoha, Bajian came to the entrance of the ninja school, a familiar location. Wait for a long time. A figure was standing straight there and waiting. Walked over, grabbed each other's hand without any explanation, and swept away the snowflakes that hadn't left in winter. The two sat on the swing. No, just arrived. A purple hair is very conspicuous under the surrounding snowflakes, and her small red face shows that what the girl is telling is only a lie. Agreed to walk together here at night. But Bajian knew that she must have waited here after school. With the swing up and down, the two hearts seem to be closer. Bajian likes the feeling of not having to think about anything by her side. This feels like first love. There is no need to say anything too sweet between the two of you. Unconsciously, purple hair was spilled on Bajian's shoulder. My mother often leans on my father like this, don't get me wrong, I just try to see if it is so comfortable. Well, she always has her own reasons. 1 hour, neither long nor short, but some Bajian, who was worried about the girl's body, finally chose to. Mao Yuxian sent home. But when he came out of the street, Minato's voice suddenly came. Many years ago, I took Kushina home like you did. Weird yin and yang, puppy love is not learned from you. Bajian flipped through Byakugan. Teacher Minato has been waiting for a long time. He has followed since he left the house, seeing that it means wanting to walk with himself. It's better to have dinner together tomorrow. Sighing, Bajian walked over. So what you mean is, my early love looks like you. Say, please go. Don't say anything else. Yongtei's tricks for making girls are still worth studying. From the time of school to getting married, the attributes of sultry sisters have been considered full. Even after graduating from ninja school, he knew that this era belongs to heroes to save the beauty, and stood up at the critical moment when Kushina was kidnapped. Who doesn't like this kind of man? You'd better drink less wine. In the familiar streets of Konoha village, although winter is about to pass, the appearance of two people sitting on the bench with snowflakes is always strange. Minato just reminded him when he was suffocating. Ms. Minato, let's be honest, when will you become a mother-in-law? Bajian flipped through Byakugan. Following myself until now, Minato will be fine. Minato nodded. I had a chat with Mrs. Jiraiya before. I see everything you did outside this time, including your understanding and imagination of peace. But, Bajian, when I mentioned that man's name to you today, I always think you will become like him in the future. It is true that I agree with the fact that unity needs to kill, but you are still young, and I don't want to see you kill for the sake of killing. This is what he is worried about. It's not that things that have affected themselves by killing too much have never happened. 3 months, more than 3,000 murders. He is very worried that Bajian will change because of this and become a stranger, only the monster he knows to kill. What am I thinking about? Bajian sighed helplessly, but he also understood that this was Minato's concern for himself. In addition to being his disciple, he is also Naruto's brother. After thinking about it, Bajian extended his fist and hammered Minato's chest according to the old habit, and then rested his head in front of Minato. Why talk too much among men? Boom. The two raised their heads and bumped against each other, and the rock hanging in Minato's heart finally fell. He is still him. Bajian is also Bajian. Konoha Kenpachi still has the same name. Enough. This is the answer he wants. By the way, Bajian, what are you going to do with the messenger group of Sand Shinobi Village? Once there is Uchiha Madara's name, I will fill in the name on the merit wall in the next few days, and the final list has to be driven out. Even before going to bed, workaholics still think about the things in the village. This is really for the village, for Konoha's Hokage. Don't worry about the messenger group, Onoki will come to Konoha himself in a few days, and when he comes, start processing. Quote. But Uchiha Madara, I touched my chin, and there are some things that I should have told Minato. Said on the road. Standing up, they pulled Minato's sleeves and walked towards the center of Konoha. Speaking of Uchiha Madara, do you remember the man who attacked Konoha last time? As he walked, Bajian's expression became serious. Minato nodded quickly. That person calls himself Uchiha Madara. It would be dangerous. Isn't it Uchiha Madara that you call it? Bajian flipped through Byakugan, and so did Obito. The meritorious wall is just a backhand. There is only one credit for creating Konoha. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Minato was taken aback and asked hurriedly. Code Ing. Don't take this to play. Uchiha Madara. Bajian shook his head and brought Minato to the bottom of the wall of merit. The knife light flashed, and a name remained on the leader. It's not that Bajian has to engrave Madara's name, but that this thing will be useful in the future. You said that your voice has changed, your appearance has changed, and your moves have changed. People even think you are dead long ago, okay, and then you have to make Minato recognize you if you wear a mask. You mean, he is really Uchiha Madara? Fifth more. It's your disciple, my senior brother. Oh no, if you really let me call me senior brother, I would really betray the senior officials. Where's the face? His name is Uchiha Obito. Can you make the hapless kid who was disappointed in the world change his mind? Bajian doesn't know, he only knows that he has to fight to listen to you honestly. That person is not Uchiha Madara. Chapter 141. I want to ask him in person. Tell Minato this news, not for other purposes. Konoha has changed. The reason why Bajian wanted to integrate the 5 ninja villages, in addition to the ultimate goal of unification, is also related to the fourth war in the ninja world in the future. So far, his purpose of creating assassination special forces is to fight against impure world reincarnation. Prepare early, then you will not be so passive. Not to mention the bombing of the headquarters in the original book. For this purpose, after returning to the village, Bajian plans to expand the Anbu staff again and create a reserve. No one will dislike the lack of elite troops, but elite troops are not so easy to develop. And to expand Anbu, you need to study a specific plan with Minato. It also takes enough time. Konoha is a village composed of various families. To be sure, now they all want to send their own talents to Anbu. I already have a blueprint in my mind. It's time to say these words to Minato. Obito is not dead. Minato opened his mouth. No wonder he felt some familiar smells from the masked man. But why is Obito not dead, but instead targets Konoha? Minato can't figure this out at all. What kind of person Obito was like before Minato knows well. Full of sunshine, help the old woman cross the road, and treat her companions more importantly than life. Is such a person actually wanting to destroy Konoha in turn? Yes, it's really not dead. Bajian nodded. The one who saved him was Uchiha Madara, for the future project Ōtsutsuki no Mi. The so-called Eye of the Moon is to envelop people all over the world in illusion, give everyone the dreamland they want in illusion, and treat that as reality. Release infinite Tsukuyomi and achieve the goal of peace in the ninja world. Without concealing the ultimate goal, after having determined what to do in the future, Bajian spoke slowly. Moon Eye, infinite Tsukuyomi, peace. These are words that Minato has never understood. But even if he doesn't know what it is, he understands that this method of drawing people into illusion is by no means the road to a contract. How could Obito believe it? He is definitely not that kind of person. Seeing Minato's blinking eyes, Bajian knew what he was thinking. Ask you a question, if Kakashi killed the teacher in front of you, what would you do? Kakashi killed Kushina in my face. Minato's pupils contracted. Impossible. This kind of thing won't happen. So what I said is if, theoretically it's really impossible. If you think so, the teacher is caught in the illusion, and there is only one way to dispel the illusion, and that is the spell that penetrates the position of the heart. If you don't get rid of it, she will run away and hurt the villagers. If you were Kakashi, how would you choose? Very intuitive explanation. Minato was silent. After a long time, he took a deep breath. You mean, he saw Kakashi kill Lin? This is a personal experience. Xingyuan. Just after listening to what Bajian said, Minato felt very familiar. The characters are changed a bit, the scene has been completely reproduced in my mind. After the third battle of Ninja World, after the battle of Shinmukyo Bridge, Obito was killed. And on a certain mission after that, Lin was also killed. Died in Kakashi's hands. But that was Lin's willingness, and her body was sealed with 3 tails. If she didn't do this, 3 tails would attack Konoha because of illusion. This is not Kakashi. Even Minato felt sorry for his disciples. The feeling of executing a companion personally, that kind of taste will never be very good. That scene caused Kakashi to wake up in countless nights, and then ran to the bathroom to wash the hands with Lin's blood. But that blood cannot be washed away with water. If it weren't for Bajian's appearance, giving Kakashi new hope, I'm afraid Kakashi is still wandering in the dark at this moment. Did Obito go completely dark because of seeing that scene? Create a world with Lin. Minato murmured, as if he knew something. Infinite Tsukuyomi's illusion, Project Ōtsutsuki no Mi. Squeezed his fists. A moment of depression made Minato fall into self-blame. When Obito was stoned to his body, he was a step late. Lin was sealed by 3 tails. When he was about to run away, he was 1 step too late. After Kushina gave birth, his disciples were right in front of him, but he didn't notice it. What kind of golden glitter is this? Shaking his head, Minato looked a little lonely. None of his eldest disciples recognized it. Ridiculous. Suddenly remembering something, the little son's eyes suddenly sparkled with the fire of hope. Bajian, if I tell Obito the truth, will he? Don't dream, Obito knows all those things. Bajian gave an answer calmly. Obito knows that if Lin is immortal, the 3 tails in her body will run away, so Kakashi moved. Otherwise, do you think he would hate Kurigakure so cruelly and use Yagura to implement the blood fog policy? Obito knows why Kakashi killed Lin. What he didn't know was that it was the drama Uchiha Madara arranged for him. Hate Kakashi, hate why he didn't change the ending. Hate this world that makes him feel painful, deny this ending. So, he perverted. Create a world with Lin, but not resurrect Lin. The question of whom Lin really liked, Obito knew in his mind, and Kakashi knew in his mind. The existence of the love triangle makes Obito dare not use the wheel revolving heaven to resurrect Lin, and directly denies this world. From a man's point of view, he was right. Against the whole world for one person. But standing in the eyes of ordinary people, that is a lunatic. Who killed Lin? Go find someone, or try your best to revive the person you like, and then muster the courage to confess. This is the real man. But Obito's extreme is intolerable. Did the world provoke you? He keeps talking about destruction, not grasping his own fetters, but trying to cut off the fetters of others. This kind of behavior is not a man in Bajian's eyes. He couldn't see clearly, but Naruto finally woke up from his mouth. It turned out that what he wanted was the same as Naruto, but he still had a dream of being Hokage. The strangest thing is Naruto's reaction. The Chiba Obito who killed his parents, Naruto chose to forgive him because of a Naruto. Ashura, I really want to travel through time and space, snatch his wife in front of him, and then ask him if he can understand himself. Well, you probably don't need to ask. At the end of the original work, Sharon is not alive. As the night breeze blew, the square returned to calm. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. After a long while, he let out a sigh and disappeared in place. Why did Obito become like this? Only a name was added on the wall of meritorious service. 6th more. But this expansion does not directly recruit ninjas. It needs to pass assessments and merit. I will work out the threshold in a few days. Phew, we will arrive at 6 more. In order to fight against future troubles, Anbu needs to be expanded. Quote. And Minato, standing in front of the meritorious wall, moved for a long time. It is estimated that he himself would not have thought that his name would appear here. It was late at night, and Bajian turned and left after speaking in one breath. He still couldn't understand. Uchiha Madara, I want, ask him personally. Ask for flowers and tickets, thank you for your support. In short, Anbu don't want to waste, just be elite. You can ask him this question personally in the future. I only have one purpose for telling you this. Chapter 142 Look, that's your wife. Boy, I warn you, if you dare to pee, I dare to click for you and send it to Orochimaru for you to reform it. Mr. Bai Jingbian is very experienced in this area. When Uzumaki Naruto becomes Uzumaki Naruto, let Sasuke hang up and play. The next morning, walking out of 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato's house, Bajian felt helpless. I wanted to see Naruto, but I didn't know that Kushina threw her son to him, and then went shopping by herself. According to Kushina, it's too hard to take care of the child during pregnancy. Let the brother help you to divide the relationship between the two. So now, Bajian sits with Kurama on one shoulder and Uzumaki Naruto on the other, with a knife and wine gourd slung around his waist. It looks a bit nondescript. The above should all be Bajian's warning to Naruto. Speaking of which, Minato and Kushina did not die. Naruto's last name still uses the word Uzumaki. This is Minato's heartfelt love for his wife, and it seems that he intends to make up for the pain of the destruction of the family in Kushina's heart. Inherit the name of the Uzumaki clan. It's very much like Minato's behavior. I have nothing to do, the request is for a break. Bajian is going to take Naruto to find Sasuke to play. See what kind of friction the two little boys would have when they were young. This kid, crouching on Bajian's shoulder and looking at the other side, Kurama squinted as if feeling something. Familiar taste. With the breath of the old man of 6 paths. Are you from the Uzumaki clan? Naruto, who was less than a year old, seemed to feel Kurama's eyes turn his head. All eyes are facing each other in an instant. Lee Lama and Naruto started their first meeting. Bajian looked calmly and looked again, then shook his head. Whether Naruto, who is not Jinchuriki, can understand Kurama and get Kurama's approval, he himself is not sure. This is an agreement between him and Kurama, first try to communicate to see the situation. Say it to the eye. It's hard to beat. After a long time, Naruto spit out 4 words and almost made the advancing Bajian stagger to the ground. This evil mantra, Bajian estimates that Naruto has learned the tone of Kushina's. The other ones are relatively clean, but the tone of, beating oil, is learned in a good manner. It's hard to beat. In order to show his friendliness, Naruto grumbled to Kurama again. Kurama, Naruto. It's hard to beat. Lama. It's so good. Go to hell. On the sides of the little shoulders, the atmosphere became weird. Uchiha ethnic land. After Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi returned, the atmosphere of the Uchiha clan was very warm. Without him. 7204. 2 of the elites known as elites are from the Uchiha clan. Their glory is also the glory of a family. Of course, this belongs to Konoha. Under Fugaku's toughness, the mentality of the tribe has begun to slowly reverse. Although they have not yet reached the kind of peaceful coexistence and full acceptance that they really want to see, they are not full of gunpowder. Transformation requires a process, but the bit-by-bit change makes Fugaku very gratified. In the yard of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, Sasuke, a young man, was playing a horse-riding game, smiling on the neck of Itachi like a beating 205. Makoto and Fugaku sat under the tree and watched this scene. The family seemed very warm and harmonious. Swords sang. A figure walked into the yard, and Itachi embarrassed his brother and stood up. And the moment he stood up, Sasuke and Naruto's eyes crossed in the air. 2 children destined to walk hand in hand to the back of the mountain in fate, unconsciously thinking of each other reaching out. It's so good. A dozen kini sauce. With all their strength, the two children climbed down from Bajian and Itachi, then walked towards each other cautiously, and hugged each other kindly. They may be good friends. Itachi and Bajian sat aside comfortably, but within a few seconds, Naruto screamed with milk and beaten up, and threw Sasuke to the ground with one leg. Not to be outdone, Sasuke opened his big mouth and bit into the side of Naruto's crotch pants. Bajian could see clearly that Naruto was almost castrated by this dangerous mouth. Fight. Fight without warning. Yo, domestic violence. Kurama, who squatted peacefully on Bajian's shoulders, smiled, and pulled Bajian's wine gourd away and took a sip with emotion. What the hell are these two? After finally pulling the two children apart, Itachi looked at the wound on Naruto's calf with a bit of fright, and then looked at the somewhat proud younger brother, lost in thought. You can fight as soon as you meet, and you can get it when you grow up. I always feel that my brother and Naruto are a little weird. Itachi sighed and looked at Bajian and said, that bite just now, it's a pity. Bajian is a bit regretful. I feel that these two are the real pair. Isn't the whole Shippuden just a romantic brotherhood of interpretation? Today you are my friend. Tomorrow, friend you are mine. 2 sentences, this is the gist of the story. But Jianzhang, this feeling is very similar to ours. Turning his head, Itachi was a little relieved, and even used Bajian as an analogy with him. Stupid, is Tsunade's medicine effective? After breathing out, Bajian asked. Jianzhang, I don't think I'm sick. Itachi scratched his head a little puzzled. Take your medicine on time, just like that, if nothing goes wrong, I'll beat you up. Too lazy to explain so much, Bajian grabbed Naruto and raised his finger to the second pillar. Look, that's your wife, remember Naruto, it's not a good habit to beat your wife. It's so good. Quote. The family was happy, but a respectful Uchiha came into the courtyard. Master Patriarch, there is a person outside who claims to be the Sand Shinobi village mission. Want to see Master Yi Bajian, do you think? See why Yi Bajian-sama wanted me to vote. This is the Uchiha clan, but remember that Uchiha belongs to Konoha, and Bajian-sama has the same power as Hokage, understand? Fugaku said solemnly. Sometimes the thoughts of the clansmen cannot be changed, and proper education is necessary, and Bajian is here. As the patriarch, he shows that Uchiha's attitude is appropriate. People with the same rights as Hokage are here, and reporting to him is totally unnecessary. Subordinates understand. The clan member nodded quickly and bowed to Bajian. Master Bajian, do you want to see him? The first is more. Codeword ing loss. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 143. Your life has entered the countdown. Master Chio, why should we be like this? Outside the Uchiha clan, the young Baki frowned and looked at the Kai-Dai mother-in-law next to him. For the first time he saw Sand Shinobi village so low-pitched that he even wanted to pray for negotiation. And Chio-sama's attitude made him extremely confused. Even in negotiations, there is no need to use such a humble attitude, right? Baki, who is only 3 years older than Kakashi, is already one of the Jonin of Sand Shinobi village, the right-hand man of 4th Kage Luasha, and the future guide of Sand Shinobi's Big 3, Jonin. Gaara was able to become the shadow of the wind in the later period. This time, I am following the negotiating team and shouldering the responsibility of protecting the safety of Chio-sama. Young and aggressive, I think my Sand Shinobi village is invincible in the world. This is normal, no one will admit that his shinobu is weaker than others. So at the beginning, he thought that Master Fengying had made a big fuss about 230. He had heard of the terrible condition of the land of the earth, but he had only heard of it. It's certain that Konoha and Iwagakure must have clashed. According to his idea, it is better to send an army directly to take this opportunity to attack the country of fire. Unexpectedly, Master Fengying would be stunned. He wanted to solve the problem through negotiation, and even wanted to proactively acknowledge the last time he took the opportunity to attack Konoha and pay compensation. This is not a sandstorm. Our will of the wind, unexpectedly lost its fierceness. If it is just that, he is not dissatisfied. The superior Bai Jing had to consider a lot more things than he thought, but after coming to Konoha, he was completely angry. Konoha's impatient attitude when he received them, and the practice of pointing them behind his back, really made him unbearable. And it has been a while since I came to this village, but every time I want to see Hokage, I will be rejected by busy business. What is the reason for this? I take the initiative to negotiate with you, it's obviously to give you a face. That's how you treat your distinguished guests in the end. Now I even take the initiative to find a kid to say something nice. How can this humiliation make him stand? The current Baki is far from the calmness of the future, and his impetuous mentality looks extremely ugly. Have you not seen it yet? And Chio next to him is extremely calm, even everything is expected. Subordinates are clumsy, what do you mean by telling them? Baki frowned. Just keep looking, don't talk nonsense. Chio turned his head slightly and said to Baki, I didn't feel Konoha's changes. You Jonin is so dereliction of duty. You should be clear about the situation of the Third Ninja World War Konoha. Although you have won, you can't see any threat from the lifeless appearance. But look now, the vigor and energy that Sand Shinobi Village does not possess at all has proved one thing. Konoha, this first ninja village has woken up. Chiyo shook his head with some emotion. Why didn't I see it? Inverted novel. Baki was stunned. Especially when you came, you also saw the name on the wall of the so-called meritorious service. Doesn't one of them feel familiar? Hitaki Sakumo, Konoha's white fang. The Konoha sinner who killed my son and daughter-in-law. The name of the meritorious wall has begun to be perfected, and the curious Chiyo also glanced at it. She can skip other people's names, but Hitaki will never forget her. Assassinated her excellent son and daughter-in-law, and then managed to escape. For her, that was the biggest pain in one. But Konoha's reverse approach made her very comfortable, and the so-called heroic war was over. Sinners are even forced to commit suicide and become sinners. The ridiculous Konoha. There is only one task for a hero to become a sinner. When she heard the news, she smiled and ate 5 or 6 bowls of rice, very happy. However, when she saw the man's name, she suddenly realized. Konoha really changed. Dare to admit the darkness before, and then everything will develop towards the light. Such a village is really terrible. Taking a deep breath, Chiyo didn't want to say more. Not long after Baki became Jonin, his mentality has not been completely stabilized. With this impetuous heart, the danger level will be greatly increased. When you see that Konoha Kenpachi, don't say anything, don't say a word. Otherwise, you will die. Chiyo took a deep look at Baki. She could sigh under her breath for Sand Shinobi Village. Konoha Kenpachi because she already understands. It was the kid who made up his mind when it was time to negotiate. Defeated Raikage, the little ghost who made the land of the country jump. Why is Konoha always a shocking genius zero? Chiyo couldn't figure it out at all. You guys, please come with me. Just when Baki was disdainful and even wanted to tell Chiyo that there was nothing scary about a kid, the ninja responsible for spreading the message in the Chiba clan is back. Following the ninja all the way, they finally came in front of Bajian. The scene at this time is a bit weird. 2 children on the ground are holding each other and rolling back and forth. Among them, the child with yellow hair and tiger whiskers is holding the child wearing the special service of the Uchiha clan, a certain sacred one. Inviolable location. Well, the word pinch doesn't describe it well, but pinch is probably more vivid. Oh my god, can you pull that place? Chiyo's eyelids jumped. Fighting again. Bajian sighed, and finally separated them by dragging them with Itachi. In the process Commander grinned with a painful grin, but he couldn't stand it and took a bite of Naruto's face. Indra and Ashura. Bringing their 2 children with chakra, it's normal to have conflicts. Bajian can clearly feel Naruto and Sasuke's body, there are 2 extremely obvious breaths. A passionate surging, a cold and gloomy. However, chakra is just chakra. Naruto and Sasuke, never Ashura and Indra, but themselves. Haha, whose child is this? It's really ugly, and the parents are not ashamed of it. A discordant voice made a few people on the court instantly focus their eyes on the past. At this moment 1.1, Chiandai's expression changed suddenly. It was a joke, but the wrong person was obviously said, especially on this occasion. Huh. Blood splashed into the sky. A scene of horror appeared. Baki's mouth was cut with a huge gap, and the tongue inside has fallen on. On the ground. Can't speak, I will help you close your mouth. Bajian looked calm, pulling Naruto in one hand and Sasuke in the other. Remember, 2 of them, one is my younger brother, and the other is my future disciple. Starting today, your life will count down, and in the future, they will personally take it away. Quote. The second is more. Code wordings. Thanks to Black Blow bosses for the rewards, thanks to all rewarding authors for reading. Grown-ups. You spent. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 144 Do you think you are Uchiha Madara or Senju Hashirama? There is no sign for this knife. In other words, it is the one that cuts as long as you want, without calculating any consequences. Really do whatever you want. Konoha may be the only one who can do this. The representative of the Sand Shinobi Village Mission Group Chiyo has met Konoha Kenpachi. After sighing, Baki, who was rolling on the ground without worrying about the pain, took a deep look at Yi Bajian and saluted naturally. This time, she is the wind shadow praying for peace on behalf of Sand Shinobi Village, so she has given her great authority, with only one purpose. Don't let the country of wind become the country of earth. She told Baki, look with your eyes, don't say a word. Rao is so, he still made mistakes. Fatal error. It's just a fluke to be alive now. Young, too young. If you can't see Konoha's changes, you're not a qualified Jonin. This is Konoha, the family land of the Uchiha clan. Konoha Kenpachi and the son of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan are dead friends. He appeared in the patriarch's house and the 2 children whom he treated intimately, would they be ordinary people? These are the information of their master. But Baki still made a mistake. This knife, he should have received 04. Even Chiyo didn't have any thoughts of seeking justice for his own people. There is no such confidence. From ancient times to the present, this kind of ninja with a knife has been the nemesis of the puppet master. Regardless of this point, Ying's strength is recognized by the ninja world as strong, and being able to defeat Ying is enough to show the opponent's strength. What's more, Sand Shinobi Village used the lowest posture in exchange for peace this time. How could it be possible to provoke the opponent at this point? The negotiation result between Cloud Shinobi Village and Konoha has been engraved under the name of Konoha Kenpachi's meritorious wall. That is his credit. From this point, it is not difficult to analyze that Konoha really made the decision. It was this kid. She came here to test her tone. Holding a child in one hand, Bajian glanced at Chio and lost interest. She died violently in the original book. Use her life force to release the already turned, and save the beast who had been drawn out of the tail. Well, or maybe it was because Naruto in his arms forced him to death. Pin hopes on young people. This is what the older generation of ninjas will do before they die. Each ninja who dares to sacrifice himself for the sake of the younger generation. All are worthy of respect. From this point, Bajian will also give Chio a thumbs up. But she will not forget her identity because of the other party's behavior. Bajian understands the purpose of Chio's coming here. But it's totally unnecessary to try something like that. Sit down. After spitting out 2 words, the boy was still calm. Looked at the 2 little guys in his arms. Although they are reincarnated sons of destiny, they are less than 1 year old at the moment. After a fight, I fell asleep in Bajian's arms. As he said, one is his younger brother and the other is his disciple. Bajian is actually not interested in accepting disciples, because what he can teach is very limited, unless he exchanges Sasuke for a Zanpaku Universal from the system store. It also means to accept Sasuke as a disciple. The degree to which he can learn depends on whether he is worthy of his own cost points to send him a sealed state. In the original work, fate is unfair to both children. There will always be sparks between an orphan and another. But every clash, just as Indra is always suppressed by Ashura, Sasuke is always at a disadvantage. The reason for this result, as Sage of Six Paths said, he gave Ashura more power than Indra. It wasn't until the last moment of the generation that Bajian embraced that Ōtsutsuki Hagoromo made a change and gave both sides the power to be fair. But these have nothing to do with Bajian. When the 2 children fell asleep quietly in his arms, he realized that the other party was so trusting. With 2 more younger brothers, Bajian is unsure whether Sasuke, who has learned swordsmanship, can save some of the situation. But the final victory or defeat in the battle between them is not important, but the fetters created after repeated frictions are the main theme. Smiled and handed them to Itachi and Uchiha Makoto who came over. Uchiha Fugaku has already consciously walked into the room. As the patriarch of Uchiha, he shouldn't hear what he shouldn't hear. Bajian wants to talk to Chio about business, even if Bajian doesn't let him retreat, this consciousness must be there. Call. Sigh of relief, Chio wiped the sweat from his forehead. It's the first time someone can put such pressure on her. Fortunately, Baki's mouth did not cause more trouble. As for how Baki will deal with the challenges of the 2 children in the future, it is up to him. Live, and then wait for them to come before them. Probably this is his fate. Master Kenpachi, before the formal negotiation, can you ask what Iwagakure promised Konoha? Slowly, Chio is the first to speak. Apologize to Konoha. As the shadow of Iwagakure, Onoki needs to bow and salute under the heroic monument. In addition to these, 1/5 of the country's land is divided into Konoha territory, and a number of materials are regularly handed in every year. That's all. After speaking lightly, Bajian observed Chio's reaction. Sure enough, her face turned green. They don't have the qualifications for the first one alone, let alone the second one. And compared with the second, the first is the most difficult one. The land in the land of the wind is not valuable. What treasures can there be in the desert? But let Fengying pull down and salute the so-called heroic monument in front of the people of Konoha village. That would be a great shame. Do you know why you are hanging out? Standing up and walking to Chio's side, Bajian looked calm. Because Luasha did not come, sincerity is not enough. How to do? Chio was short of breath. Onogi will come to Konoha in 3 days. You can make your own decision as to how to choose. Also, you can talk to me peacefully now because you have admitted what Sand Shinobi Village did, otherwise the end will be the same as Iwagakure. 137. Bajian understood that after seeing the terrible state of the earth, Luo Sha was already stunned. Except for the Kingdom of Wind, several other countries have been completely convinced by Konoha. Sincerity is not enough. After taking a deep look at Yi Bajian, Chio, who lived long enough, understood what he wanted to do. From Kurigakure to the current Sand Shinobi village. Has been tossed by Konoha all over again. What is he going to do? It seems obvious. Surrender to Konoha. Truly end this troubled world of disputes. I seem to see your ambition. But, Konoha Kenpachi. Do you think you are Uchiha Madara or Senju Hashirama, can you really do that? Chio calmed down suddenly, looked at each other and said. But what he said next made Chio's eyes go wide. I am not anyone, whether it is Uchiha Madara or Senju Hashirama, it will be impossible to look at the world at the same height as me in the future. And the 2 people you mentioned are only worthy of being engraved under my name on the merit wall. Leaning his head, the young man's sword fell into his hand, with an aura of annihilation. After the combination of his new 3 powers, the special Reiatsu went straight to the sky at this moment. I am who I am. Third more. The code word ing, the chapter of the sudden emergence is coming to an end, and it will be over for a while. The protagonist will grow up too. Thanks for your support. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 145 The Knife That Pierced the Sky, lifted the clouds to see the light after the sun. 3 days later. The air in early spring should be dry. But sometimes as a human, it's really hard to figure out how the weather will change. For example, the country of rain is always invaded by rain. No one can explain why. In the country of fire, where the 4 seasons are obvious, different phenomena occasionally occur. Early spring and late winter. The air is still a little cold. The air, which should have been dry, began to moisturize. Konoha's villagers and ninjas gathered early and waited quietly around the central square where the glory meritorious wall is located. Not long. 2 rows of teams slowly entered the arena. The Iwagakure envoys, who had just arrived at Konoha, came here directly following the trend of the Night Owl squad. In Oyemu's solemn expression, there was a hint of helplessness. But it is more of humiliation and hatred. Being willing to bow down in the hostile ninja village, especially the ninja village that almost destroyed his homeland, even bending over to apologize. But he had to do it. Konoha's powerful strength forced him to bow his head. Otherwise, what awaits Iwagakure is destruction. Maybe they once had a way to deal with it, that is, before Konoha took action, they joined forces with the 4 ninja villages to attack Konoha in a frantic way. Just as they did during the Third Ninja World War. But after all, this kind of union did not appear. Now, Iwagakure's strength has fallen into an underestimation, and I don't even think about it if I want to recover for less than 10 years. And how to spend these 10 years is another headache. The need to pay tribute to Konoha every year makes them even worse. Under this premise, they have lost the capital to unite with other shinobu villages to fight Konoha. Even the mighty Konoha will make other shinobu villages have no desire to attack, and instead aim their spearhead at the country of soil. So he can't bet. There is no qualification to die and break the net. Taking the responsibility of Tsuchikage, Onoki at this moment can only come to Konoha to apologize in a humble manner. This is the shame of his life. When he followed the second Tsuchikage to Konoha and wanted to pray for an alliance, he was shocked by Uchiha Madara's eyes and retreated more humiliating than before the start of the First Ninja War. Lived for several decades, but finally fell on your hands. Yi Bajian. At the entrance, the Iwagakure envoy slowly moved forward, and Onoki's gaze fell on the young man who was holding Zanpakuto in front and drinking comfortably. His knife changed its appearance. And the breath seems to be calmer and more basic, but I carefully perceive the past. Onoki's whole body trembles unconsciously. That kind of destruction made him instantly lose his thoughts. He is stronger again. What a terrible genius. Why do such people always appear in Konoha? Konoha Sanin and Hatake Tsukumo in the Second Ninja War. The golden glitter of the Third Ninja War, Namikaze Minato, instantaneous Shisui. This village. Looking around the 4 tables, Onoki gritted his teeth and admitted one thing. A land with outstanding people, this is the well-deserved first ninja village. In the end, he set his sights on the young man at the forefront of the other team that was walking towards the wall of merit. 4th Kazekage Luo Sha, he came after all. It's not much different from Onoki's expression, but Luosha's face has more schadenfreude. This time, fortunately, he became a sensible person. Even if the elders of Sand Shinobi village objected, he still hurried to Konoha. Seeing Onoki's appearance, he knew that Iwagakure's experience was not fake. In that case, other shadows accompany such things as humbling, why can't he do it? In terms of military strength and national strength, the country of the earth is obviously higher than the country of the wind. They all obediently rolled to Konoha to apologize, why can't they? He is sensible. The country of wind is really the tossing of Konoha. With a cold snort, Oyemu finally dispelled his desire to talk to Luo Sha. Sand Shinobi village and Iwagakure also have a lot of hatred, but it seems that the land of the earth is even worse. This alone makes Luosha a lot easier psychologically. The exploitation of the kingdom of the wind is even worse, but there are even worse. People always comfort themselves like this. His ambition. Chio, who followed Luosha, still looked at Yi Bajian. I am who I am. 4 words, but she and I heard the extremely rich meaning. I am not anyone, nor do I want to surpass anyone. Because those people have never surpassed the value, even their names can only be engraved on my body. What a boldness this is. However, the ninja gods can't do things. Can you really do it? This is where Chio suspected. But even if Chio didn't seem to admit that, after that boy really grew up, Seping really had the strength to complete his ambitions. Has anyone beyond the god of ninjas appeared? Chio sighed. Looking at Konoha, they are all developing in the direction that the person expected. The feeling of changing every day, Sand Shinobi village has never before. Step by step, the 2 envoys came under the magnificent wall of glory and merit. Heroic Monument. The densely packed names and the text introducing the merits of the achievements made Onoki and Luasha moved in their hearts. The heroic souls of Moniu seemed to be staring at them in front. Where does the pressure to force yourself to bow your head come from? On both sides of the team, beside the wall of merit. The Night Owl team has assembled. And in front of them, standing Konoha's fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato. For Konoha, this is not a simple ceremony to witness an apology. More like a rebirth. The first shinobi village, the first ninja village, who screamed out during negotiations with Cloud Shinobi Village, was bold and determined. And the second time, let the two shadows apologize to the undead who died in the heroic monument. This is an action. Different meaning. It represents the same thing. Konoha is heavy. When the first drop of cold rain fell in the sky, Jiraiya, who was standing next to him, suddenly understood something, and a line of tears flowed on his cheeks. Konoha, who yearned for peace, paid the most from the First Ninja World War to the Third Ninja World War. The dead souls of Seping, but what they have is this belated apology. Bajian, you are the son of prophecy. In the end, his eyes fell on the boy. Tsunade, who was not far away, shook his head. For Konoha, for her, this was a moment in history. My grandfather might be pleased to see this scene. Compared with the atmosphere in the village, this is probably the biggest change for Qian Zhao Konoha. He really did it. The sunshine that lifts the clouds and sees the sun is what you should see most. The two shadows slowly walked towards the exit of the square. Fourth more. Bow and salute and sign the unconditional armistice treaty. Codewording. Lifting his head, the ice rain hit his face. Bajian slowly pulled out Zanpakuto from his waist. This is their Konoha. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Konoha, the first ninja village. Quote. The black gold sword light rushed to the sky. This is the warmth full of light and the rebirth after the haze. The third battle of Ninja World, this moment has come to an end. Unless they die, they will never do that. Obviously, their value alive is much higher than that of death. The villagers and ninjas raised their heads, and the sunlight exposed from the cloud that was divided into two made them involuntarily reach out and touch them. Just this day, unsheathed. Bajian did not force the opponent to kneel down, and the person who inherited the will of the shadow. Chapter 146 5 Years of Sharpening, the figure on the field. Spring goes and autumn comes, the sun and the moon change. After the end of the Third Ninja World War, the 5 weather-beaten ninja villages all returned to the state of development, welcoming their baby boom. The leaders of the 4 shinobu villages who besieged Konoha had only regrets left in their hearts. Only Terumi-Mae is very thankful for her choice. Especially when she heard that Tsuchikage Onoki from the land of the earth, and Kazekage Rasa from the land of wind went to Konoha together, completely dispelling the idea of resisting Konoha after doing what they had done before. Compared with the other 3 ninja villages, Kurigakure only sacrificed a few high levels, and the affiliated villages also have the benefits of affiliated villages. It only needs to unconditionally implement all Konoha's requirements. At least not many people died. This kind of rejoicing is humble, but it is also a reality. After the news of the two shadows going to Konoha reached every corner of the ninja world, the peaceful days officially began. They don't know when Konoha, who is madly accumulating wealth and power, will explode next time. But it must be prepared early. Peace is inevitable when almost every shinobu village is injured. They are all waiting. Wait for new opportunities to appear. However, compared with other shinobu villages, Konoha's development speed has increased by many times. With sufficient materials and money, the most obvious thing is the growth of population and scale. Konoha's Ground 040 bark alone has been expanded back and forth 3 times. And the 4th expansion is imminent. Anbu's entry standards are still that high, but that department has long been no longer synonymous with darkness. The ninjas behaved like crazy, and in order to join Anbu, they performed their missions frantically. The increase in the amount of tasks, the increase in the strength of the ninjas. The name of Yi Xiao also resounded thoroughly in the ninja world. An unwritten rule has been recognized by the big ninja villages. On the way to the mission, if you encounter any member of the Night Owl squad, you can give up the mission without being punished. This is a respect for the Night Owl team, and it is a recognition of Konoha's strength. As for how to recognize the Night Owl squad, it is no secret. The Hokage half-sleeves wrapped around one arm after another are the most direct proof. Only when the contribution to Konoha reaches a certain level and is recognized by everyone, is it equipped with Naruto and a half. Of course, that is just a symbol of glory, and there is no actual gift of power. But it is so, ninjas are more eager for this symbol of glory. Everyone is working hard for a goal. The feeling is indescribable, refreshing and fulfilling. And that young man also fulfilled his promise. Cloud Shinobi Village takes advantage of the emptiness of Konoha to force the Death Day AEDH to Hizashi. The Uchiha clan conspired to rebel and was killed by Itachi alone. Non-existent. This is the new Konoha. Time is passing by at your fingertips. It's the spring season again in the beginning of the year. Enrollment in the new ninja school has begun. And this batch of admissions lists has made the ninjas have strong expectations and curiosity. Standing on the renovated ninja school playground, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the entrance card in his hand with emotion. List. Small. He has completely retired and is now taking on the education of Konoha Shindai. Of course, compared with those gorgeous hypocritical brainwashing, he has now abandoned those things. The so-called strongest Hokage term does not appear in textbooks either. Seriously explain to the younger generation and guard Konoha's jade, this is the requirement and responsibility set by the third generation in the heart of the changed third generation. As for the name on the merit wall, maybe it is his regret, but he is still alive, and being alive means that he has not given up the final merit. Longevity is a good thing. For example, now he can watch these little guys enter the ninja school and tell them something that should be paid attention to as a ninja. Lowering his head, Sarutobi Hiruzen was deeply moved by the name on it. I was fortunate to supervise their entrance quiz, and suddenly there was some excitement in it. The son of Naruto, the successor of the Uzumaki clan, Uzumaki Naruto. The second son of the old patriarch of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Sasuke, the younger brother of the Night Owl squad member. The new generation of Inoshika Cho is the heir of the secret art family. The jewel in the palm of the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, Princess Byakugan Hyuga Hinata. In addition to them, there are several other descendants of the secret technique family. For example, the Inuzuka Tooth of the Inuzuka clan. Aburame Shino of the Aburame clan. Together with Hyuga Neji, Tenten, and Rock Lee who enrolled in the previous year, they are collectively referred to as Konoha 12 Shaokyang. Of course, so far, Sarutobi Hiruzen has not figured out what this title represents. What makes him more concerned is that this title came from that terrifying man. Konoha 12 Shaokyang. Interesting. At the moment, many people have gathered in the playground, including teachers and students from the ninja school. This group of freshmen is very famous. Son of Naruto. And the genius of the Uchiha clan. I heard that there are 2 players who can play this year. On the high platform of the playground, Hyuga Neji hugged his shoulders and stared at the crowd gathered there. Which 2? Xiao Li next to him asked suspiciously. The son of Hokage, and the son of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, they are called Konoha Shinzing. My father told me that in addition to this identity, they also got the guidance of someone in Yishao, and they are very strong. They are the target I want to defeat. Neji took a deep breath and trembled slightly. It was a battle triggered by encountering other geniuses. I can also get the recognition of that person. Beat them. Xiao Li scratched his head and said that the man he met in the training ground was also a member of Yishao. Neji didn't say it all at once. To defeat those 2 people, besides wanting to prove themselves, there is another reason. Father said. Wanting to fight against fate and improve the branch house and clan system of the Hyuga clan is what the man said. He wants the approval of that man. Although he hadn't even seen that man so far. Only by defeating the genius he taught in this way can I enter his eyes. Taking a deep breath, Neji suddenly thought of something and looked at Xiao Li. I am standing here because I can see Byakugan, why are you here? Yes, it's a distance from the playground, and you wouldn't be able to see the situation without Byakugan. What are you doing? Neji almost vomited. For a guy who can use spiral farts, Byakugan is really not a problem. Xiao Li smiled slightly, and the watermelon head moved with the wind. Neji Tiger's body shocked. Uchiha Sasuke's Uzumaki Naruto. 5th more. Neji, don't you know yet? The 2 people facing each other on the field made Neji's heart beat suddenly. Well, what Saping felt. Neji frowned. The next moment the real eye-opening was opened. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Byakugan. Go. Codewording. Accompanied by Xiao Li's roar, his pupils quickly turned upwards, his entire eyeballs twisted, and the inside of his eye sockets turned white strangely. You also have. Actually, I also have something like Byakugan. This TM is Byakugan. Entrance quiz. It started chapter 147. Are you going to take a bath? I invite you this time. The parents are not dead. There is also a halo of the son of Hokage on his body. But Naruto, like the bloggers in the blogger's biography, did not understand his father, and even deliberately did some helpless things to attract attention. On the contrary, he would be extremely envious of seeing his father beloved by the villagers every day. He even made a silent vow that he would become Hokage in the future and get everyone's approval to become a person like Minato. Facts have proved that the kind of person is the kind of person. Naruto, who has his parents, wants more recognition. I also cherish such Konoha and such a home. To say that the only thing that made him upset was the second ancestor of the Uchiha clan in front of him. Pretending to behave all day, learning that his brother is holding a knife, he really thinks he is the descendant of Konoha Kenpachi. Although he has no talent for swordsmanship, he has practiced with his brother a lot, and not long ago, he secretly learned a trick from his father. Today the pillar will be defeated, he said. I want to beat him. Prove yourself and show it to brother. Zuzi, I heard from my brother yesterday that you almost gnawed me into a girl when you were a kid. Slowly pulling out kunai from the backpack he carried, Naruto gritted his teeth and said. Don't say that you are so innocent. Imagine how painful it is when you pull me, and no one but master can call me a pillar. Sasuke looked cold, and angrily pulled out the kodachi that was slung around his waist. It's okay not to mention it, he can't stop breathing out fire when he mentions it. From a small memorial to the present, he has a question. Why is there always a painful sensation every time I go to the toilet? Sasuke was puzzled and found his elder brother to ask the reason. After learning the result, he was furious and fought with Naruto. I was caught when I was a kid. There are sequelae left. Although there is no delay in using it, the pain is always going to last a lifetime. He is bullish, now the culprit is right in front of him. Whoosh, whoosh. The two figures rushed towards each other. At this speed, the third generation who was watching the show was stunned. This kind of speed, I am afraid that even Genin does not have it. Oh my goodness. How did that man train these two little guys? Go to his uncle's seal of opposition. Before the fight between the ninjas begins, they need to form a seal of opposition to formally compete. But the two have forged a beam, and confrontation means reconciliation. It's better to beat him up. The figure flickered, and kunai and kodachi slammed together. The children around were stunned. This is just the entrance exam. Under normal circumstances, the students have just arrived at the ninja school, and the sharp blades of kumi and kodachi have not even learned how to master. But these two people can already use it proficiently. Is this still a student? It always feels scarier than Genin. Kumu and Taito intertwined, and the two of them moved away from each other. But the next moment, Naruto smiled suddenly and made a seal. Shadow clone technique. Boom. Next, a white light flashed through two shadow clones exactly like Naruto and appeared there. Shadow clone technique. It's different from the illusory clone of technique, but it has the entity shadow clone. Have the consciousness of independent performer and certain anti-strike ability. Real B-level ninjutsu. Without Kurama's trouble, Naruto's ninjutsu talent has been developed to the greatest extent. One move, multiple shadow clone hits the world. Just enrolled and has already become the master. To deal with Naruto, I really couldn't hide it. Sasuke took a deep breath and snorted and raised his kodachi high. In the next second, the light blue chakra has extended from the body to the knife. Chakra blade. Attach chakra to weapons to increase destructive power. It's not bad, pillar. The three Naruto drew out kunai and rushed up. The four figures began a melee. The dancing figure completely stunned the surrounding students. This TM is a freshman in school. What a joke. How stressful is it to go to school with such a monster? Marvel, doubt, decadence. The new cows were completely suppressed. The battle on the field has also become fierce over time. Carrying one in one hand, Sarutobi blew heavy secondhand smoke into the two of them. Wei Tien. When Sasuke's knife flashed faintly and needed light, Naruto also reached out to his shadow clone. Third generation knows that if they let them go, their hope of going on the wall of merit in the end is gone. I announce that the entrance quiz is over. Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke tied for first place. Is it finally over? The learners breathed a sigh of relief. I'm afraid they won't want to be ninjas anymore in this life. Cut. Looking at each other, the two teenagers turned their heads aside. Neji in the distance was a bit regretful. It was obvious that both of them were preparing some powerful moves, but after all, they had no chance to watch. But they are really strong. After squeezing his fist, Neji just wanted to take back Byakugan, but a figure suddenly landed on the field from the sky. At this moment, his eyes that had been staring so big were bloodshot again. It's him. The legendary man. Long flowing hair, black martial arts clothes, a fox on his shoulders, a lightning scar on his handsome face, a long black knife on his waist, and the wine gourd. It can't be wrong. Konoha Kenpachi, it's him. Konoha Kenpachi. With a murmur, Neji swallowed hard. It really is him. If you fight, it's just too much. Taking the two little guys from third generation, Bajian carried one in one hand and raised it in the air. It's over, it was discovered. Sasuke and Naruto paled, and they didn't even dare to look at the man for fear that he would say something terrifying criminal law. For example, if the brothers take a bath together, etc. Give them a bath for the opponent they hate the most. Stop dreaming. But, the man's flowing black hair was scattered on his shoulders, showing a warm smile. Good performance, keep working hard. Oh my god. That stern brother actually smiled at himself. Naruto blinked in disbelief. Sasuke next to him was equally stunned. The fair face blushed slightly, and the girl leaned close to Bajian's ear. The gazes of Ino and Sakura fell on Bajian for the first time, and they couldn't do without. The logo's face was close to Bajian's shoulder, and the familiar taste made Bajian smile. He refreshed the handsome ceiling. Well, 6 more completes, thank you readers for your support. Are you going to take a bath? I'll do it this time. Also stunned, there are the children around. 6th more. Quote. Itachi was performing tasks outside, and such tasks fell on his shoulders. As soon as he stepped out of the school gate, a purple figure fell into his arms. Really? That? Looking around, Bajian didn't say anything and walked towards the exit of the school. For the entrance ceremony of the two younger brothers, it's okay to come as the older brother. Hey, get caught by me. I never escaped. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The Kind of Mixed Bath. Chapter 148 Jianzhang, the Sakura flower of the Uchiha clan is blooming. Hey, if I say you too, can you be careful? My uncle is still here, can't you wait for it to get dark? As far as you humans are, the uncle, from Senju Hashirama, Uzumaki Mito, to Namikaze Minato Uzumaki Kushina, are all in the same position, and the uncle can only look at the faces of the two big guys and look at them. Mother, and, are you sure that's interesting? Why don't you have to go to the bath after the grinding is over in less than a minute? Isn't it troublesome? Stop feeding. Foxes can't eat dog food. Just as Bajian and Azuki Shion were getting closer, a discordant voice startled the girl. Turning her head suspiciously, she met the mocking gaze from Kurama. You're talking, I'll twist your head off. Bajian glanced calmly at these two goods and regained his gaze. God knows what he saw this day, and, 20 inches in 1 minute, are you sure that it is an exaggeration? Forget it, Mr. Minato. After the death of second generation, Sister Yongtai is recognized as the highest speed in the ninja world, but Senju Hashirama's tenacious vitality, are you sure for a minute? Well, the vision of Jinchuriki and the tail beast is public, and it does look a little disgusting from its perspective. But, in the blink of an eye, Naruto and Sasuke are enrolled. It's been 5 years. This Konoha, this Shinobu. And 9 tails, everything has changed. Taking a deep breath, the blood in my heart suddenly surging. After a few ups and downs, the two came to the tallest spire in the village. This place is the highest location in the entire Konoha village. Even the Hokage rock in the distance is not as wide as here, and every corner of Konoha can be seen after the expansion. Of course, the premise is that the eyes are good enough. The breeze stroked his cheeks, Bajian's long hair was scattered behind him, Kurama skillfully took off the wine gourd on Bajian's waist, became bored and burped, and looked at the village with the boy. Humph, this change is also due to my uncle. Next to Bajian, Uzu Shion looked at the man's profile and involuntarily leaned on his shoulder. No time is more at ease than now. After graduation, follow this man into Anbu. The promise she made when she was young finally came true, and in the end she lost the swordsmanship duel. Not only did I lose swordsmanship, but I also lost my whole person and my heart. However, she was willing to lose. I got my wish and became a member of Anbu, knowing my strength was not good, but I always wanted to help the man next to him. So now, she has become Bajian's full-time secretary in Anbu, responsible for screening out the various tasks and selecting important things to send to Bajian. With him, I never need to talk too much. Just stay together like this. Konoha, which has been expanded several times, looks more prosperous, but still maintains the original simplicity. The kind-hearted villagers and ninjas perform their duties, and everything is developing in a good direction. Yi Bajian, who caused all this, has disappeared from people's sight for 5 years, and people don't know what he's up to. Only the sweaty figure on the familiar training ground at night continued. Minato used 8 words to describe the man's normal state. Life is endless, more than just wielding a knife. The knife is a part of his life. It's this kind of will that inspires the whole village to move on and never stop. In addition to Konoha, Bajian itself has changed. His strength became stronger with every swing of the knife. With a thought, the system panel appeared in front of him. Host. Yi Bajian. World. Naruto. Unlock the King of Flat Slasher template. Zaraki Kenpachi, Void White, Hawkeye Mahawk. Zaraki Kenpachi template progress. 51.1%, Shikai has master. Virtual White template progress. 41.1%, Mask mode, Instinctive Call has been master, Runaway Bull head half unlocked. Hawkeye Mahawk template progress. 21.1%. The 4th stage of template unlocking requires 3 major templates to be unlocked after 100% integration is successful. Flat cut points. 8,617. Chakra volume. 3,987, comparable to 1 tail. Physical fitness. 4,471, normal 6th gate. Reiatsu. Unknown requires the first template to unlock 100%. Activated flat cutting feature. Chakra blade. The highest level chakra quality changes. Soul eater. Soul harvest. Dead soul under the knife. Hockey smashing blade. Each level cut adds an enhanced weapon color effect, and 100% ignores the armor color defense, greatly improving the armor smashing ability. This effect is also effective for Susanoo's defense. The next level cut feature activation time is the 4th template to unlock 50%. Daily tasks. Never ending. Swing the knife 1000 times to unlock all unlocked templates. 0.1% progress achieved. With 2000 swings, chakra reserve increased by 0.1 achieved. Swing the knife 4000 times, increase the fitness coefficient by 0.1 unachieved. Swinging the knife 6,000 times, representing the energy of the soul, Reiatsu received a small enhancement unreached. Swing the knife 8,000 times, unlock 0.2% progress of all unlocked templates not reached. With 10,000 swings, chakra reserve increased by 0.2 unreached. Advanced mission. Become the real Shinigami completed. In the next stage of solving tasks, the template progress is on average higher than 70% to open. Ego Zanpakuto liberation. God cry. The above are all his abilities. In the final analysis, there is still only one trick, and that is flat cut. It's just the powerful effect brought by the flat cutting, which is shocking. The third template has been master, the great swordsman Hawkeye from the world of One Piece, after unlocking Bajian's. Ping cut is a bit more elegant and chic, but once the instinctive call is completed, his madness will also make people desperate. In short, at this moment, he takes a knife. As long as Obito's Kamui slows down a little bit, he will undoubtedly still be the boy who likes flat cutting, without any bells and whistles. Open your hands and embrace the sky above Konoha. The grand plan in the heart of the teenager has been 1.8 half completed. This Konoha, this ninja world. It will eventually become a heavy bull. Huh, a figure fell on the platform behind the tower. It's like using Rejoice's unique suppleness, which is different from the Uchiha tradition to kill Mat. He came. Uchiha Itachi. Over the past 5 years, looking up at Jianzhang's back, he is a bit less youthful and a bit more mature. The only constant is the faith in the heart. Naruto's half-sleeves fluttered in the wind. Kansang, the Sakura flower of the Uchiha clan is blooming. Released his hand, a petal fell in front of Bajian. Another year Sakura flowers bloom. Bajian opened his eyes slowly, reached out and touched Konohasaur's gust of wind, and squeezed it smoothly. Sakura flower. The wind is coming. The first one. Codewording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 149 Yi Xiao assembled again. Kansang, when I just reported to Teacher Minato on the task, he said that if you have time, you will go there. Don't rush to appreciate Sakura flowers for a while. The things in the village are the most important thing. Itachi said to Bajian's back. Bajian nodded and looked at Uzu next to him. Wait for me in the old place at night, the mixed bath you mentioned. Don't run then. Rubbing the girl's head, Bajian and Itachi disappeared. Humph. I can run. Shi-Yan pouted her lips and disappeared in place. Regarding the recent expansion of Anbu, the details are here. In the Naruto office, Minato handed a stack of documents to Bajian and smiled satisfied. In line with the kind of system that Bajian said, no more expensive and less expensive system. In the past 5 years, the number of Anbu elite has increased from 200 to 500. The preciousness is not much expensive. However, this number does not include Anbu's reserve forces, but Konoha, the old team in Anbu. The core of combat effectiveness. The threshold for Anbu is still so high. Not to mention the real Anbu team. And Yi Xiao, only after Yi Bajian's personal selection is qualified to enter. Glancing at the above content, Bajian was uninterested. Isn't Shi-Yan responsible for these things? He didn't bother to read the above content. Anbu, Reserve Team, Night Owl. The 3 systems are simple but not simple, and they are also limited in complexity. He just waits for the screening results. Minato didn't find himself because of this. Sure enough, after talking about Anbu's expansion, Minato's expression suddenly became serious. Ms. Jiraiya has sent back news. The Akatsuki organization that you mentioned has had some activities recently. Jump. Akatsuki. Bajian suddenly realized. I have already told 4th generation about Obito. And Minato, the organization that Obito is in, already knows about it. A mysterious organization named Shao. The meaning is the dawn of dawn. But in the end it turned to a strange organization of darkness. After being mentioned by Bajian, Minato naturally noticed that place. Originally, Mr. Jiraiya was tracking Orochimaru's trace, but based on his observations and guesses. Orochimaru may have already joined Akatsuki. Jiraiya. There is no doubt that he is an idle person. After Konoha entered the development period, he started his own travel again. I've already confirmed in my heart that Bajian is the title of the Son of Prophecy. He left his own traces, and continued to create prohibited articles that he hadn't finished. Anyway, Bajian wouldn't listen to those long talks, and this kid doesn't need him to guide him. However, the Night Owl team still retains Jiraiya's name. The original code name of 91 has continued to the present, the idea of joining the team temporarily has also disappeared. The 2 words Yi Xiao, in a sense, represented glory. According to the rumors in the ninja world, any member of the Yi Xiao squad can directly abandon the mission. It has been explained how great the deterrence of Yi Xiao's existence is. Where is Jiraiya? However, Akatsuki's words. Frowning, Bajian thought of something and asked. The death of Jiraiya, the hero in the original book, was on the sea outside Rain Shinobi village. Wandering Dragon and Angelica, the sea does not welcome me Jiraiya. Even Kabuto wanted Impure World Reincarnation Jiraiya to fight for himself, but he didn't find his body. The corpse sank into the sea. That is not how Jiraiya should end. Konoha at this moment does not need Jiraiya to go to Rain Shinobi village to investigate information. Originally, Jiraiya went out and continued to travel, but Bajian didn't take it seriously. There is still some time in the beginning of the plot, after the Chunin exam is the time to really pay attention to Xiao. He didn't expect Jiraiya to find the information of Akatsuki in advance. The reason lies with Orochimaru. Calculating time, it is indeed the same. In the original book, when Orochimaru left Akatsuki, he was killed after being shot by Tsukuyomi. If you calculate, the extermination also just happened during this time period. The night is destined not to be posted, so Orochimaru is still in the Dawn organization and it makes sense. And Jiraiya's idea of looking for Orochimaru is not actually about him. Sannin number 2 has already returned. Kuno Konoha, he wanted to find the feeling of Sannin gathered together. Maybe, take Orochimaru back to Konoha and he will change his mind and admit his mistake. Pulling his companion back from the abyss is what Jiraiya really wants to do. But at this moment, Akatsuki is not something he can handle. Although it is missing Uchiha Itachi, Hoshigaki Kisame and Deidara, the organization is still. Nagato has a strong opponent, let alone. Without knowing the information, the undead duo alone is very troublesome. In addition, the information network Black Zetsu, the puppet technique of Sasori of the Red Sand, and the knife splitting the tail of the Loquat Juzo. The reckless man of Beast Jade. Jiraiya alone will be very difficult to deal with. It's not that I don't believe in Jiraiya's combat effectiveness, but that his incomplete Sage mode needs to be turned on. In need of time, Rain Shinobi Village is the base camp of Akatsuki. Plus, if you don't know the other party's intelligence, and you ask for information without authorization, there may be accidents. Ms. Jiraiya said that he had found Orochimaru's trail and was following him to Rain Shinobi Village to prepare for adjustment. Check the situation. Feeling that Bajian's state is a bit wrong, Minato glanced at the intelligence in his hand and said quickly. What's wrong? Teacher Jiraiya has so much experience in sneaking into the investigation 213, it should not appear. Accidents are right. Whoosh. Without waiting for Minato to continue speaking, Bajian's figure has rushed outside along the window. Taking a deep breath, Zanpakuto on the waist fell into his hand and pierced into the sky fiercely. But they never forgot those two fascinating names. The weird Reiatsu that gathers 3 energies in an instant pouring out, and the black and red light continues from the blade. Set off. Uchiha Itachi, Hitaki Kakashi, Might Guy, Uchiha Shisui and Kurama on his shoulder. Target Rain Country. This is Yi Xiao's collective signal. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Yi Xiao hasn't appeared in their field of vision for a long time. In an instant, countless villagers and ninjas in Konoha village looked at the position of the Naruto building. Whoosh whoosh. Codewording. Putting the knife back into its sheath, Bajian took a deep breath and looked over. The white clouds stretched out above the head, and the hard life splits one part into 2. This is. For a total of 15 seconds, several figures fell in front of Bajian. The figure disappeared instantly after the sentence. Together with Kakashi and Might Guy in the distance, they rushed into Konoha village. In addition, there are 5 people in total. At the Konoha training ground, Shisui, who was conducting an illusion test at his subordinates, looked solemn and gave a little confession. The second is more. Chapter 150 Akatsuki and Yi Xiao's first collision. Orochimaru. Rain Country, near Rain Shinobi Village. A passing frog suddenly vomited and stepped on the water, his eyes were very solemn. According to his long investigation, Orochimaru will come here every once in a while. The purpose is temporarily unclear, but the particularly conspicuous Huion suit has already betrayed his identity. A member of Akatsuki. Dawn. The frog's eyes gradually focused, revealing a touch of doubt and disbelief. Akatsuki, he hasn't heard of it. He even knew that the original founder of the Xiao organization was his 3 disciples. But during the Third Ninja World War, he heard that the country of Rain had started a civil war, and there was no news that Akatsuki had destroyed his 3 disciples. Jiraiya even thought they were dead. But now Akatsuki has once again surfaced, becoming even more mysterious. Even his old companion Orochimaru joined in. What can be a good place for an organization that can accommodate Orochimaru? Slowly exploring the intelligence of Akatsuki's organization, every time he learns a piece of news, the more frightened he becomes. The logo of the fire cloud suit, all rebellious. For the time being, what he knew was that the opponent turned out to be a mercenary during the war, hired by various ninja villages as combat effectiveness, and constantly hunting down valuable targets in exchange for money. It seems that at the moment when the accumulation of strength is waiting for the outbreak. What are they going to do? The frog bulged and looked at Rain Shinobi Village, which was extremely calm in the rain. Orochimaru, don't be doing something wrong. After a moment of contemplation, the green clam cautiously jumped towards Rain Shinobi Village. Since Iwagakure's Tsuchikage and San Shinobi Village's Cage personally went to Konoha to apologize for the 3rd time. The Ninja World War has completely ended. It can be seen that Konoha's current strength is much stronger than other Shinobu villages. Quote. But when other Shinobu villages didn't mess with Konoha, there was more friction with each other. The tasks Akatsuki can receive have also increased a lot. The accumulation of funds is considerable. Quote. In Rain Shinobi Village, in the conference room organized by Akatsuki, Conan calmly analyzed the situation in Shinobi. This meeting didn't use the magic lantern technique, only let the phantoms of the members of the Shao organization arrive. But the real body. From time to time, in order to ensure the loyalty of members, there is also a division to determine the amount of tasks for each person. This kind of in-person meeting is necessary. Of course, more is the former. Akatsuki's original containment is the rebellion of various countries. The two words already show that loyalty is very high. Difficult to maintain. As a god, it is necessary for Pen to show his strength from time to time to frighten the opponent. But today is different. They mainly share information. Looked around, Conan finished the latest intelligence summary. Kakuzu, Hidan. The undead duo is relatively fast in the Akatsuki organization, and the motivation to make money is still good. Ju, and Afei, who just joined, stood on the other side. On the contrary, Orochimaru and Sasori of Akasago still tried to test each other with the look of wanting to kill each other. In addition to them, there is also a loquat Juzo with a beheaded knife. Because of Bajian's relationship, Itachi. He didn't become a rebel and teamed up with him, so he didn't die in Kurigakure, and the decapitator was still in his hand with Tiandao and Conan. These are the existing combat capabilities of their Shao organization. We need more members. Quote. Pain made an analysis without expression. Whether it is to accelerate the development of Akatsuki to prepare for the ultimate weapon rule in the future, or to seal. Regarding the 9 seals of the magic dragon that the seal-tail beasts need, how do they look at their lack of manpower? Do you have a goal? Conan asked. Yes, still observing. Just when Pen wanted to continue speaking, he suddenly listened, and there was a hint of fullness in his body. Deadly killing intent. Dare to sneak into Rain Shinobi Village. What is this place in the end? Dive into success. But Jiraiya's mood didn't get better. Few villagers, ancient buildings, the hideous beast with tongue out in the center. This Rain Shinobi Village is more mysterious than when Hanzo once ruled. Feeling the rain that spilled on her body, Jiraiya found a corner to regain her human form and put on her clothes. Where did Orochimaru go? This village reveals weirdness everywhere. As he was advancing cautiously, a few miserable white papers suddenly appeared in the air blocking the way. In an instant, Jiraiya entered a state of battle. There were more and more pieces of paper, but when the woman with light blue and light purple hair appeared, he shouted in shock. Made a sound. Shinen. It can't be wrong. Although he has grown up, he has been with him for a few years as an apprentice, he will never admit his mistakes. The woman in front of me was one of those who had been rescued by him and accepted as a disciple every month. Conan. Angel. Angel of God. Conan waved the wings transformed from the dance of paper in a high manner, the look of high above, really. Treat yourself as the messenger of God. Shirinen, what did you make? Why are you here? Jiraiya frowned and couldn't figure it out. It was not the rumored Rain civil war, his 3 disciples. Is it dead? But why does Conan appear here? Still claiming to be with a divine envoy. I didn't expect to see acquaintances here. Just when he was confused, behind Conan and behind the street where Jiraiya was, appeared at the same time. A few figures. In an instant, he was cut off. Orochimaru. For the time being behind him, the person standing not far behind Conan is his former companion, Orochi. You are here, where are Nagato and Yahiko? Looking back on Conan, Jiraiya is short of breath. Even now, he is still worried about his apprentice, ignoring that he is already in danger. Conan still waved his wings expressionlessly, and Seping had no idea to explain. That kind-hearted girl has completed her transformation, and the ultimate purpose of living is only to help. Nagato completed his ideal. Yahiko is dead. Even if what Nagato does is not the correct truth to the contract, so what? The dream of a dead companion will eventually stand up and bear it. Kill him. At this moment, an indifferent voice came from the sky, looking at Jiraiya's pupils along the source of the sound. A figure with orange hair was reflected inside. Yahiko, good Lee. At this moment, Jiraiya was completely stunned, and his disciple was going to kill himself when he spoke. Why? What is this? The predicament collapsed instantly. And Conan, the nearest to Jiraiya, has already flapped his wings. That god shit just now. Pain's order has been issued, and the surrounding Akatsuki members rushed over at the same time. Boom. Ahead, a black-haired man hit Conan's wing with a knife in one hand. This moment, with a bang, a few figures fell on the ground. In front of him, Seping became a mortal situation. Third more. It's the boast, he said. And all the attacks of the Akatsuki members were stopped. The first friction between the Akatsuki organization and the Night Owl team has been completely unfolded. Hey, the girl who claims to be a god shit, who allowed you to do something to my people. Codewording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Knife light flashed.